If you've just joined us on ABC News Radio, welcome to Carrara. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus up in the box. Jess Stewart down on the boundary as we bring you Gold Coast versus North Melbourne. The Suns 1-4, the Kangas 2-3. It is a perfect day for football as we continue Anzac round in this round 6 of the 2023 AFL season. Drama down in Tasmania earlier today. The Crows coming from behind late to pinch a 3-point victory over Hawthorn. If you've just picked up that score, 11-13 to 11-10. The Crows 11-13, 79 to the Hawks, 11-10, 76. The Blues and Saints are underway. And Carlton's just hit the lead there through a goal to Charlie Curnow. Carlton 4-5-29 to St Kilda's 4-2-26. In the National Rugby League earlier today, the Titans were 26-0 up over the Dolphins, but got beaten 28-26, and the Tigers and Manly Warringah about to get underway. Michael Price, it's lovely to be alongside you on a Sunday at Surfers Paradise, where the night will fade into the evening. Is it a day where the Suns will fade into irrelevance yet again in the 2023 season?
Don't say that to me, Q, because this is starting to look
familiar
to other years. Where
that poetic licence just hit me right then. It wasn't intended, but it's somewhat fitting, isn't it?
It is.
As the light fades here, will the Suns fade into irrelevance?
Apt, I say. When it comes down to it, though, I think you've got two similar lists. You look at their age profiles; they're very similar. The games played across the list, almost the same. The heights, the weights, they're almost the same, except for the Suns' youngsters are probably that cream of the crop, where North Melbourne a little bit more going into the depths of the draft. But quite frankly, if the Suns can't win today, you could almost walk up to Gill and say, what the hell's going on? What is going on here?
Jason
They're too quality
Ackermanis
not to.
And Matthew Primus, welcome to you. What are your thoughts? We haven't painted an all rosy picture, and it is a bigger picture than that. But boy, isn't the heat on Gold Coast?
Oh, it might be. Excuse me, it might be. But I think the Suns are a better team at home. They've been a bit unlucky. They've played some really good footy. Forgetting their Geelong game, Geelong had just been they were rotten potatoes for a while there. They've just come good. Look at them. They go home and they can't be beaten down there. They'll make finals and be up there again. But the Suns, amazing group. They are so much better here. They will win on the road this year, I've no doubt. They'll make some surprise wins. Their midfield's too good for North. If North get within 30 points, it's a good day for North. And no disparaging the North with their new coach, new game plan. But the way that they're structured, if they can just get their three big tools working well, the Suns, and their fleet of foot kicking goals, they're not going to get stopped.
Well, Acker's got a rosy outlook for the locals. Matt Primus, welcome to you. What are your thoughts?
I think the disappointing thing is they've given great effort, but their composure and ability to execute a game plan has been miles off, and that's what's cost them Essendon, Fremantle, Sydney. And so the expectations that they should be a lot better than what that is, because the effort is you should be bringing that every week, and that's just not good enough, their execution of it, and that's all over the ground, and there's not enough now that there's not youngsters in all the areas. They've all played enough games to understand that, but I think today is a great day for them to get all that on the forward march and on the right path, and I think North are right for the picking. But Clarko, you never know what he's got up his sleeve, the way he prepares his teams.
As ever, we'll have the Anzac Day observance before we get to Bounce Down, which is a little over, around about half an hour away. Short time ago, though, we were able to catch up with the forwards coach, assistant coach of the Gold Coast Suns. Brad Miller joined us downstairs just before we came on air, and I started by asking him the nature of the review of the game at Norwood, where they dominated against the Dockers, only to go down at the back end of the game and lose by 10 points.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on the 2.5, 3 quarters that we really liked. We saw some things in there that were really encouraging. We just had to spend a bit of time with the guys on staying in the moment, what we can fix, simplifying the message on field, just so the guys can execute when the pressure comes, because it's going to come. We know it's going to come.
What's the mood? You're 1-4, and the pressure seems to be mounting.
We feel the pressure, definitely. 1-4 is not where you want to be. Our job this week is just to put it into a really simple form that the guys can action. You know, there's no doubt they're feeling it, we're feeling it, but we've got to put a side out there that can execute what we're trying to put in place throughout the week, and we feel like we've been able to do that.
And Jason Ackermanis here, mate. I was just watching North last week. they really got towed up through the middle. If you can move it quickly through the middle and out the open side, they seem to their inexperience is hurting them in that area, and there's only so much a coach can do. Did you guys see that as a bit of a weakness? I know they'll be a bit better at it, but is the plan really just to move the ball a little bit quicker, particularly off half-back?
Yeah, so we know they're going to try and handball through us. It's a big part of how they play. So if we can get a couple of those handball chains into turnovers, we're looking to punish off that's for sure, Akka. We'll also see a bit of controlled ball movement. We feel like if we put it into a contest, we invite the pressure. That's what we've found over the first 5 games. We control the game a little bit, the tempo of the game. We feel like that pressure doesn't start to build on the guys. So, yeah, there'll be a mix of both, but especially off those forward half turnovers, Brisbane obviously able to take 33 marks inside their forward line last week on the back of punishing those forward half turnovers.
Brad, Matt Primus here. What are you seeing? What are the strengths of Northland? What's Clarko tried to implement? Is there a couple of things you've seen shine through since he's been there for been coaching for the last 5 or 6 weeks?
Yeah, so the main thing that we're going to try and take away from them is that layer 2 handball chain. Once they do get it on the outside, strong enough to win it on the inside, and if you don't pressure their layer 2, they can look really dangerous going forward. So yeah, we've focused on that all week. Hopefully we were able to get really smart decisions around the contest, hunting on layer 1 and then making smart decisions to cover the outlets in layer 2.
Now, Matty, do you use layer 1 and layer 2 in your vocabulary when you're training the boys at Southport?
Oh, well, we just did it with the Bulldogs yesterday, who we played. Bulldogs play a bit similar. Their handball can kill you. So, as Brad said, if you get drawn 2-1 or 3-1, the ball's gone and see you later. So, similar philosophies, but a lot less time to do it than what they have.
Yeah, great to hear these types of terminologies when the coaches get to speak. But I think the lay footy listener as well has picked up what you're saying there, Brad. What about your co-skipper to get Witsy back, and what's going to be a massive day for the opposition ruckman?
Yeah, it's been huge. We definitely missed him last week. Morley did a really admirable job, but he came up against the guy who took the game by the scruff of the neck. So to get Witsy back and his strength around the contest, I think the guys walk a little taller in the middle there when he's in there. So it's definitely it's buoyed the group. He won't be able to do it on his own, that's for sure, but he's a class ruckman.
Down on ground level, is the wind a little bit protected at this southern end? Because I tell you what, it was windy, and then a Lee Matthews halftime spray out there outside the stadium, but inside the stadium, what's it like down there?
Yeah, it's sort of funny walking over in the car park. It was blowing a gale, Akka, but it does sort of funnel around down the end where there's no stand. It does sort of sneak in there and swirl around, so it can sort of play a few tricks, but it doesn't seem to be as windy in here as it was on the way over, that's for sure.
And Brad, you work a lot with the forward line where we're still learning how King, Chol and Casbolt all work together. And you've tried different things, so what have you learned over the first 5 weeks by having all 3 of them around? Because you haven't used them all at the same time, but they're all in today.
Yeah, they all offer something different. Choli can obviously recover from an aerial contest and be dangerous at ground level. I feel like Kingy's go-to is to anchor himself deep. We've just tried to get him up the field just to free him up a little bit. And Casbolt's obviously a contest junkie there. He brings the ball to ground at all costs. So if we can get them all bringing their strengths, hopefully we see them at their best as a trio.
Is it been something that you've had to sort of try a few different things, and even with your ground level guys, because it's a great threat if you can get them all going? And I think probably Casbolt surprised us all last year, so he's earned his spot there, but you're always going to get King back and use him once his knee was right. Yeah,
and it has taken a while, clearly, judging by the results, to sort of see what's going to work the best. So they don't get in each other's way and they can all play to their strengths, as I just mentioned. We haven't seen their best yet, but hopefully it's not too far away.
And as far as getting back at home and the final message to the boys today, how do you ensure they continue to play with freedom, even though that the outside pressure mounts and the win-loss ratio starts to get on their back?
Well, it's all about staying in the moment. That's been the message all week. Simplify what you say to each other, make it action-based, and stay in the moment no matter what the scoreboard says.
Thanks for your time, Brad. Good luck today.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
Brad Miller, who's the specialist forwards coach and one of Stuart Dew's assistants, joining us down on the boundary just a short time ago. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jason Ackermanis and Matthew Primus up in the broadcast box for the call of the game. Down in the shadows of the Western Stand, Jess Stewart has the pleasure of being close at hand to keep us across movements down on the bench. She's brought a jacket. It is a beautiful day and it's windy down there, Jess. How are the conditions? Welcome.
You're paying me out for being a typical Queenslander who can't deal with the touch of coolness up here. As soon as it gets a bit breezy, we all complain about it being cold in Queensland. Well, to be fair, Bomb is saying 23 degrees, but feels like 17. So I'd say that's a cold day here in Queensland. But there is a breeze about, as you mentioned, and I'm just finding it a little bit hard to kind of ascertain just how detrimental it might be to the game. But looking at the Suns flag that they put up, and it's kind of swirling about as it stands at the moment. It feels like it's pushing across the ground. You'd have to think that it's probably going to have a bit more of an impact on that open end of the ground, of course, as Brad Miller alluded to. It doesn't seem to have too much of an impact inside the stadium here, but it definitely is breezy. It's saying about a 45-kilometre wind gust on the Bureau, of course, but a beautiful day in terms of conditions. On a great day to be a member of the banner crew for both sides. You can see them trying to hold that one down. A big banner for Todd Goldstein, as you alluded to before, but about 8,000 expected in the stands here today for this Suns and North match between the two sides. So yeah, a beautiful afternoon for footy.
Thanks, Jess, who'll keep us close at hand with any developments on the bench. And before we get to the Anzac observance and the entry of the two players, a chance to go to one of the key members of the Ruck Union, just to tell us how tough it is to keep fronting up and the enormity of the milestone for Todd Goldstein today. There's a lot of 300-game players, and there's a good portion of ruckmen among them, Matt Primus, but Goldie's story is an interesting one. He was one sort of plucked from the basketball background late in his teen years, picked up in the draft pretty early, and here he is, 300 games in.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure how many rucks have done a QUB. Yeah, quite a few, but in the modern game, as you say, from a guy that didn't play it all through his junior career, just purely footy, debuted in 2007, and just to see him still going around now, and even at the start of the year, they went a couple of the young rucks ahead of him, and then they got injured, and he's back in and playing not bad form, just to be 34 years of age and 300 games, and he competes hard, but he's also got that basketball now, so he's very clever in the phone booth, as we like to say, or around clearances. He can do some tricky stuff, and just the durability is amazing, and he still looks mobile playing now. Normally when you get into that age, Aki, you're starting to slow down and you can't bend over and pick up the ball or jump as high as you can, but he still looks as mobile as he did 5 or 6 years ago, which is a credit to himself, and I'm sure they'll be looking, and knowing how Clarko likes to coach, they'll be winding this up pretty big for him.
And just before you respond, I'll describe the moment. He's coming out now, Todd Goldstein. He's got quite the family, and the banner reads Goldie 300, and the 300 is in gold lettering. Solid gold games. So they haven't got all that creative with the...
Yeah,
I don't think you need to. When it's right in front of you, why not?
Yep.
Take it. He's got the clan around him and his wife, and he's going to lead North Melbourne out onto Carrara. Congratulations to Todd Goldstein. He goes through the banner. Solid gold from Todd Goldstein as he enters along with the rest of the Kangaroos ahead of this game, Aka, as you were.
It's got a really big engine, though, and it's sort of funny to actually be durable as well. It must be so hard because no one gets hit more in a game than the two ruckmen. They're always bashing into each other, knees, and then you've got to go for marks when it's long down the line. Oh, Mattress, I don't know how they get over 200 games, let alone 300. So great effort there from the big fella, Goldie. I'm sure he'll enjoy the celebrations, but he won't enjoy it as much if they don't win. And I'm sure as he's looking a bit proppy as he runs down to join the boys, but what a day. It's always a great day.
Takes him a while to warm up, Aka. DP's got to get going and get a sweat up, and 10 minutes in it'll be fine.
Yeah, he could be wearing orange boots if he wants, but he's up against big Witsy comes back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's had a couple of weeks out, and they have missed him. He's a rock around there. He puts the ball wherever the mids want, and I reckon they've missed a bit of his direction the last couple of weeks. So a good win, and good to see they've taken a little bit easy. I think he could have nearly played next week, but they're just making sure they're looking after him to get through the whole year. So a real key battle.
How tall is
Witsy? Would be about the same. They're both about 202, 203 centimetres, I think. So they're big boys, and they weigh about the same too. So.
Well, did you guys provide the statistical information to the AFL when it came to weight and height? Because we can only go with what we've been given here. Jared Witt's officially 209 centimetres.
I thought he was 208, 209.
110 kilos. Goldie 201 and 101 kilos. So
8 centimetres.
Well, we can ask. This is one of the great mysteries. Matt, did you shave a few kilos off as one of the big guys? And Acker, did you add a few kilos on as one of the small guys? We always wonder about this.
I stayed the same height the moment I came into when I finished, and I was actually 200, but I stayed 198 all the time in the record, and I stayed at 100 kilo and I finished at 110. So I don't take too much credit.
So there we go. What about you, Acker?
Yeah,
you would have started at what, 75 kilos and finished at what, 83?
I started at 177, stayed there, still 177. I started at 72 kilos. The best I played, usually it started to go up, 77, because I was, 177, 77, born in 77. Eventually I got to 80, 81. And I think that they usually do those for the records, like early in the pre-season. And a couple of years I came back a bit fat, so I was like 84 kilos, and I would have played at 79.
Here come the Suns. Tuka Miller is going to lead them out through a banner which reads, "Embrace the Anzac spirit. We will remember them lest we forget." Indeed, the theme continues across this round. If you have just joined us, by the way, dramatic finish over in Tassie with the Crows coming from behind late to get past Hawthorn by 3 points. 11-13 79 to 11-10 76. Getting close to half-time at Docklands, and St Kilda leads Carlton by 3 points. The Saints 6-3 39 to the Blues 5-6 36. And repeating that scoreline in the National Rugby League today, if you are listening locally on the Gold Coast. Ears averted, Titans fans. Another implosion this afternoon. They were 26-0 up, yet the Dolphins won that game by 28 points to 26. And early on between Manly Warringah and the West Tigers, it's the Sea Eagles 6 leading the Tigers 0. You were pretty emphatic, Jace, about your thoughts on how you think the Suns are going to win the game. What about you, Matt? What's your overriding thought coming into this one?
I think their style of play, even though they've butchered a lot of opportunities, and as we heard Brad Miller talking before, they zone out of games for periods, and that's cost them against teams that are around the same position as them on the ladder. I think their style of play is going to ask a lot of questions of North. North are really struggling in the contested ball area. They're back 6 or 7. I don't think they've played the same 6 or 7 all year. It's been in and out with their keys and their smalls. Interesting though that even though they're poor in the contested possession, they've left Greenwood out, as you mentioned before, and they've brought in Hall and Curtis, who can certainly give them some run. So you wonder if Clarko's going to play the old try and keep them off, kick the ball around, a lot of uncontested marks, keep it away from a contest and see if they can get the Suns that way. That might be the only way they can beat them. But look, I think the Suns are going to win comfortably, and they'd want to too, because there's going to be lots of questions asked if they don't not just win this, but win it and look a lot better team than what North are. But things can be different, and Clarko can certainly come up with a game plan that can make it pretty hard on the opposition.
The guy that worries me for North, I don't think this is the ground for Ben Cunnington. He is a fantastic player, in and under. There's certain grounds that he plays great on, where the ground's a bit thicker, he doesn't have to run as fast. This deck is so quick. I would have had Greenwood be out there running, who's got a bit of fleet of foot, than probably him up here. This deck is so quick. That's why I reckon the Suns are just going to have a little bit more leg speed. But I tell you what, the find of the year is probably Sheasel. Great, a terrible name. I'm sure he got that much crap when he grew up, but what a player.
People think that Ackermanis is probably a weird name too.
Yeah, but it doesn't rise with Sheasel.
He's embraced that though. I saw him actually autograph a box of cheeses for a young girl over the fence, and he just embraced it. So look, he's probably just thought he's got to cop it all his life. But yeah, quality. They're just coming like freshly pressed, straight out of the under-18s now, almost ready to go, aren't they?
Yeah, you watch him today, Sheasel. He'll get a bunch of kicks, intercept marks in the back pocket.
Yeah,
and he's playing up the midfield. He's a super player.
Yeah,
interesting you say with that Cunnington. I reckon Cunnington and Greenwood are very similar. They're both just contested ball tacklers, and I reckon that whatever the choice was, but I reckon probably Cunnington, because he's been at North so long, he probably kept his position, but they couldn't afford to have them two, and I reckon that points to Clarko's definitely going to try and run them and carry the ball and get it out away from the contest as quick as they can, because that's one of the Suns' strengths this year.
Well, one of the interesting points that's been raised during the week is, have the Suns got enough foot soldiers to rotate through those centre bounces and the stoppages, Matt and Jason. We've seen the over-reliance on Matt Rowell, who's still young in his career. He and Tuke Miller, and then who else?
Yeah, that's the problem. That's their problem. Those two guys spend too much time in there, and I think their second stringers at the moment are going to become very good players, and they just are not really thrown. I don't know why Stuart Yu doesn't do that. Gets a couple of young players in there just to see what they're about, particularly in the second half of quarters when Tuke and of course Rowell need a rest. It's staggering to me. I think that's where he's got to start throwing out, throwing the magnets around.
Well, I think the good teams, they'll try and continue to have your balls in there, but throw someone who's got breakaway leg speed. So I'd love to see just an Ainsworth come in for a centre bounce, or somebody who's just got an ability, if they get the ball, they can turn a 1 metre gap into 3 or 4 metres really quickly. And at the moment, they're looking after Dave Swallow. He's more wing and a bit forward or half back, not going inside. And they are just relying on those three. And Tuke and Rowley are bulls, and they work hard both ways, but they're very similar. And it'd be interesting to see whether they go the same today, or they try and throw one or two others in there just for 2 or 3 minutes.
Does that contribute to the second half fade-outs? Because that is an issue. Over the 5 games, it's a trend. They've only won 1 third quarter and only two third quarters and only 1 final quarter, and that was against Geelong.
Absolutely.
When they won the game. So does that contribute?
Absolutely. I think they've got that. They should run deep. They've got the talent, but Stewie's not putting them in there. He's leaving them out in the wings and the flanks, and that's okay. But in the end, when you're gassed, you know what it's like when you get in there and you're gassed, you just got no run.
You got it, and if you look at Geelong last year, they had Dangerfield and Selwood, arguably two of the greatest mids the last 10 years, but one started on the bench and one rested a lot more forward and just pinch it through the middle of the ground. And look, there was no issues with them, how they went about it, and they were still able to do it. So I think it's something they need to add to it, because definitely the way those two play, they are going to run out of gas if it's just purely those three going through there 90% of the time.
One of the guys that I'm interested in seeing how he's used today, and again, I'm fascinated with these talls and what they're doing, because there's some very talented tall players on the Suns list, but boy, they're tall when you've got Mac Andrew in the team as well today. Yep. So they're basically playing the full gamut of the big guys, with Witts coming back in and Casbolt coming back in. Chol stays in the team, Mac Andrew stays in the team, Ben King stays in the team. Is this just modern footy, or are they tactically trying to do something here?
I think with Casbolt, I just love, on the way down I was thinking, as I was listening to the same song that's out there now from Darude Sandstorm, I was thinking, how good is it going to be, and how many people is Levi Casbolt going to hurt? And just like a pinball, he just pushes them out of the way, they're injured, all of a sudden North will go back. Thanks to him, he will take 5 or 6 guys with him and bruise them.
So where does Andrew
play? I'm not sure. Andrews is a lot more agile and on the ground. He's not a big tall marking option at the moment, but they've done it all year, haven't they, Q? Maybe 1 or 2 talls have dropped in and out. They still haven't quite settled on what their forward 6 or 7 look like, but they would have looked a bit last week. The Kangaroos conceded 33 marks in their back 50, the 4th most ever in the history of the game. So I reckon they're thinking today is an opportunity for our talls to mark the ball.
You know what the worst thing about that conversation was? One of my favourite hits of the 90s, the next time I hear it, I'm going to think of Levi Casbolt and Jason Ackermanis. Yes. I don't know how your brain works sometimes. Why did Levi come into your brain when you're thinking of Darude and Sandstorm?
Last time I was down here, I'm thinking, I can't wait to see Casbolt just bust packs and just hurt people, and you see them start limping off, and I'm like, I'm going to count them today.
Callum, can we have a little bit of this, please, just if you're not aware?
It's a bit of a body count.
This is it.
Now, let me tell you, Ed Sheeran loves this song as well.
About to drop, guys.
We're going to go from dance floor to sombre in a moment, but a little bit of Darude before the Anzac observance.
We're going to get moved too.
Yeah.
Here comes Levi. Bang, bang.
There's 1. There's 2. There's half a dozen.
Okay. I think the stadium DJ realises that that's not the mood for this round, because the players are starting to take shape, and the flags are at half-mast. We've got the Torres Strait Island flag, the Aboriginal flag, the New Zealand national flag, and the national flag of Australia, as the Suns take shape at the northern end, and the Kangas looking resplendent, can I say, in their traditional strip. I am sick of some of these weird strips that they're playing in. Brisbane's yellow yesterday was terrible. The red of Adelaide today down in Tassie was terrible. North looked like North. Oh, what a privilege it is to see the Suns in red play North Melbourne in blue on this Sunday afternoon at Carrara. We've just gone to half-time at Docklands, by the way. The Blues are 4 points in front of St Kilda. Carlton 6 goals, 7-43 to the Saints 6-3-39. Marching band is emerging. from the race down at the northern end. See different versions of the military music throughout the different codes in this Anzac round. And this one is 4, 8, 12, another 7, about 22 strong with the bandmaster. 3 snares with the hand cymbals and the lone bass drum. Couple of trombones, couple of tubas, trumpets, French horns, saxophones and clarinets. I think there's a flute there as well. Oh, that's actually a piccolo. And the band's going to take sort of a route from the forward pocket up to the centre circles, and now makes a bit of a turn to the right and walks straight down the middle of the ground towards where the official ceremony will take place on the western wing.
The Australian Football League, the Gold Coast Suns and North Melbourne invite you to join the coaches, players and umpires as we honour the Anzacs and all those men and women who gave their lives in the service of their country. Our thoughts too are with those currently on active service. We acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who have served and are currently on active service as well. Would you please stand and remove your hats for the Anzac observance. We're joined today by the band of the 1st Regiment, Royal Australian Artillery, led by the bandmaster, Warrant Officer Class 1, Sean O'Toole. Our drum major is Sergeant Rowan Chapman. Our bugler is Warrant Officer Class 2, Paul McBurney, and our vocalist is musician Aisha Kingston Bull. And to join us on this occasion, we welcome Nerang RSL Sub-Branch President Stuart McGettigan to recite the ode.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Everyone, would you please remain standing for the New Zealand and the Australian national anthems performed by the band of the 1st Regiment, Royal Australian Artillery.
God of nations, at thy feet, in the bonds of love we meet. Hear our voices, we entreat. God defend our free land. God Pacific's triple star, from the shafts of strife and war, make her praises heard afar. God defend New Zealand. Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are one and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Anzac Observance, Surfers Paradise style
Thank
at
you,
Carrara
everyone.
on the Gold
Enjoy
Coast.
the football.
The Suns and the Kangaroos about to do battle in this round 6 fixture. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus to call it for you, with Jess Stewart down on the boundary. Repeating the score from earlier today, Adelaide by 3 points over Hawthorn, 11-13-76 over the Hawks, 11-13-79 over 11-10-76. Halftime at Docklands, Carlton leads St Kilda by 4 points, 6-7 to 6-3. And in the NRL earlier today, the Dolphins coming from 26-0 down to beat Gold Coast 28-26. Manly Warringah currently leading the West's Tigers by 12 points to 0. And as is always the case, if what you're hearing on the analog radio or wherever you are is not your choice, well, you can make that choice through the ABC Listen app. Our NRL available by the green button on the Listen app. And if you do want to hear the call of the Saints Blues game, well, that's available via the AFL button. We've got a couple of buttons on the Listen app for the AFL. We're on AFL Extra. Shout out to you if you've joined us on AFL Extra, but you can make your choice with the Suns, the Saints and Blues game on the AFL button. If you are just joining us, Bailey Humphrey is the sub for Gold Coast, and Liam Shields is the sub for North Melbourne on a day where Todd Goldstein celebrates his 300th game. So, to the former Brownlow medalist, the former Port Adelaide captain and coach, Acker, Matty, final thoughts before we get underway.
You're never the former Brownlow medalist. You're always the Brownlow medalist. I keep telling you this. It's
You
like the
carry
president.
Okay, it's like an Olymp- I should say that.
It's a sign. The president is the 46th
You're not the
president.
current Brownlow medalist. You're a a Brownlow medalist of former years.
2001 Brownlow medalist. You're never a former. I've always got it, you see.
Okay.
Unlike Joe Watson, a poor guy. But anyway,
Three-time premiership player, Jason Ackermanis.
Shots
oh,
fired.
sorry. Already, I'm in fine form.
Nothing personal.
Now let's see the Suns. Obviously, with Jared Witts back, how's he going? He's going up against 300 game, but that should be a bit of fun. Hopefully, he runs him around. Want to see a bit more speed out of the contest from the Gold Coast, and just to exploit them. They were terrible last week in their defensive side, North Mattress, and I want to see them improve there. I've no doubt that's what they're going to try and do.
Yeah, I want to see them attack the game. North attack the game, and I want to see how the Suns come back from a bit of adversity and intensity on their club the last couple of weeks and see how they react to that.
Anyone tipping North?
No,
No.
that would be a bad idea. I mean, North are a chance. You never know with Clarko. He's done some amazing things, but.
Well, I think the competition's waiting to see whether the bounce will continue or are they going to level out. I mean, they've got the 2 wins already, which has equalled what they did in 2022. They won only 2 games. Year before that was 4.5 wins, and then in the abridged 2020 season they won only 3 games. So they haven't won a lot of footy games. To win back-to-back against the 2 Western Australian teams at the start of this season was fantastic, Philip, for Alistair Clarkson and for long-suffering Kangaroos fans. They'll see this as a winnable day for them. As much as I think the top part of the competition is putting pressure on the Suns, wouldn't North love to spoil the party today? Hope you can enjoy it with us on Grandstand AFL. Michael Price to call the opening bounce.
The umpire holds it aloft in the middle of Carrara. Todd Goldstein in his 300th game up against Jared Witts. The inclusion this week, the co-captain of the Suns, gets it down, but Cunnington with the first clearance, unfortunately, handballed it straight back to Witts, who got it onto his left boot, rushing towards it. Lukosius handball it back to Ainsworth, tackled into the ground. Ball spills, could have been either or, a push in the back or holding the ball. So the umpire elects to ball it up on the point of the centre square.
I thought a one like that, Quinton, they're dangerous straight into the back.
Yeah, Davies Uniacke, the tackler, no free kick. From the bounce, Anderson wins the clearance for the Suns. Hand pass to Rao. Quick kick to attacking 50, doesn't find a teammate. From the deck, Cunnington roves for North. Hand pass to Tucker. Back to Cunnington. Clearing kick from D50 out towards the wing. A hacked ball which bounces to Collins of the Suns. Hand passes to McPherson. Kick turned over. Kicked it around his body. Tucker had it. Lost it for North. His hand pass stolen by Rao. Rush kick inside 50 to the pocket. Chol taps it to the advantage of Ainsworth. He's near the boundary. Turns and kicks beautifully back to the corridor, but Cunnington intercepts. Ellis was the leading target, and the veteran reads it brilliantly to intercept for North.
3 possessions already for Ben Cunnington in the opening seconds of the game. He's right on board.
He's moved 20 metres.
Tom Powell. Give him credit where credit's due, though, Acker. Powell gets it into Davies Uniacke at centre-half back. He holds things up as the Suns get set. That's an awful kick. He went sideways towards the wing, and when I say towards the wing, it was towards the boundary line, 20 metres away from the nearest player in Scott. It went over there. The umpire said it wasn't deliberate, it was just a shocker. There was going to be a throw-in on the outer side.
Strange option. He had guys leading at him. They want to go through the corridor. I don't know why you'd go out there.
And he held it up for long enough too. Throw in, that's a good one. Goldstein versus Witts again. Goldstein gets this one. It's sharked by Anderson. Handball back inboard to Rowell on the left foot inside 50. Big pack and off hands. It's going to go for Chol. Gets it to the left foot and kicks one from 30 metres. Good bit of roving from the big man. And the first goal comes from the Suns. One straight. Kangas yet to score. Played barely 2 minutes of the first quarter here on ABC Grandstand.
Charles Mann went into that pack and ended up costing him. I mean, Charles got the one out the back. Nice little bounce there. Left footer running sort of parallel with the goals, Mattress, but that's what we want to see from Charlie. If he could make some more tackles and do the stuff on defence, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's what Miller said when we interviewed him earlier. His recovery on the ground is really good, but good work by Anderson and Rowell. A couple of matchups. Holman's gone to Cheezel off half forward, half back, so not a dead set tag, but he's going to put some work into him. And the one to be careful of, Zeeble is playing on Lukosius, and Lukosius has been in pretty good form hitting the scoreboard the last couple of weeks.
So he was the leading goal kicker for the Suns last year, Mab Chol. He kicked 44, and that's just his second of 2023. Centre bounce, Witts roves his own crumb to clear for the Suns, gets a boot towards half forward. Open spaces, it's met by Chol, 60 from goal. Weaves onto his left boot. Hacks a kick to the pocket off the instep. Poor kick. Zeeble reads it well for North and takes a chest mark just forward of the left back pocket. Still plenty of natural light around, but the artificial lights have been turned on as Zeeble chips it very short to Logue. at left half-back, defensive 50. Kicks long to the wing. Looking for Larkey, but he's outmarked. Powell's in front to take the grab for the Suns. Forward of the wing, he'll inject Gold Coast back into attack with a kick to the pocket. 2-on-2 contest. Core comes to fist it away for North. Rove by Rowell, though, on attacking 50 for Gold Coast. On his left, Among, kick to King. And King marks. That was one of those floating entries which favours the forward if he's in front. And King good enough to take that mongrel-looking kick with a mark, and he'll have a shot from 30 metres out.
Well, he almost got that last one. His opponent just went straight back into him, which was brilliant. It just stopped his run. But then the Rao kick, forwards in front, that's what we like.
And King was the leading goal kicker the 2 years before. Of course, didn't play last year with his knee injury. He pumps his fist with the right boot. That's a fine strike from 30 metres out. 8 goals so far this year, 2 goals today for Gold Coast. Collectively, 8 goals of the year for King, as I was saying, and it's 2 straight to yet to go beyond halfway for North Melbourne.
Who do you think's on Marble Chol? Because he is too quick for his opponent. I just watched that last contest. I mean, I don't know how quick he really is, but he is way quicker than his opponent.
I think Mackay Q. Mackay was on him up the ball and looks like he's gone to Ben King, whether they roll over it depending on who plays higher.
Oh, he's gone on the Chol, Mackay, yeah. They could exploit that, I'm telling you. Chol looks real quick.
This is looking decidedly ugly for North Melbourne already. We've played 3 minutes of football, 4.5 minutes
going with the
wind.
It's very early, very small sample size.
Small sample size, but it's looking very sticky at the moment. Wits in the middle against Goldstein. Nicely done by Cunnington with strength. Kicks it to centre half forward. Fisting ball goes back inside the centre square and it's picked up, and there's going to be a stack of bodies as Noah Anderson peels himself off the turf and will get a ball up.
Is that Razor Ray?
Razor Ray Chamberlain. It is just on the point of the centre square. Favour of North Melbourne just at half forward. Now, Miller had it. It's going to be a free kick to him because he was dealt with illegally. He's got it on at left half back. That's a mongrel of a kick to go inside the corridor. Put Wits under enormous pressure. He turned it over. Now Zurha picks it up. He lets loose the ball on a good tackle. And that's a really good one coming in there from Ben Long. Saves the day for the Suns.
Holding the ball, free kick. And Long kicks from centre half back out to right half back. Powell marks, kicks back inboard to Anderson. Going laterally across the half-back plane, the Suns, before the kick down the corridor, marked by Lukosius in the middle of the ground with no pressure. He'll kick to Weller, marks with no pressure. 60 out at left half forward. Easy transfer inside attack for the Suns. King, the target of the kick from Weller, couldn't take the mark. McDonald got in front to Rove. North's defence hacks it clear. Sheasel's kick, though, goes straight back to Weller, who kicks infield on the 45 to Lukosius, who's 45 out. And we know that is definitely in range for Jack Lukosius.
Yeah, last week he was kicking it from 70.
He was. Just really, it's the bad matchup. Zeeble v him. Zeeble's just going to let him go up the ground because he knows he can't run with him. But if there's no pressure around the ground, Lukosius will have 15 shots today from 40 to 60 out.
Well, speaking of 15, he's had 15 scores this year, Matt. Very good. 7 goals, 8 for Jack Lukosius. Right on 50, right foot strike. It's left. A behind, and the first behind of the day for Gold Coast. 2-1, 13 to nothing. Inside 50s, 7 to nothing. Pricey.
And 5 clearances to 1 as North Melbourne have the ball at full back. It's with Zeeble. He plays on, goes into the right back pocket. That's a predictably long, good kick to just short of the wing. That's a good contested mark, and you wouldn't expect anything else from Sam Collins. That was against Larkey too, no slouch. He kicked it to the 50. Ainsworth, that was a Warwick Kappa-esque leap for the ball. Beautifully picked up by McDonald. North Melbourne in favour, and that's a nice mark taken in defence by Curtis Taylor. Just chipped out of there, and he was in front of Daniel McPherson. So he's going to play on though. Goes left, goes right. McPherson puts the pressure on.
Oh dear.
Taylor goes back inside 50, puts the pressure on Core. Outside of the right boot, back to the wing where it started, off the fist of Larkey. It goes forward for the Suns, and Fiorini takes it over the boundary line. Scrappy bit of play there. This team defence of North Melbourne's is what we saw in the second half of last week's game against Brisbane. Don't forget, they had 33 marks inside 50, Brisbane, a club record.
They look like witches' hats. They're not zoning. That's not defence.
Yeah, it's been a small sample size, but not a good one for North. Casbolt taps down to Anderson. Hand pass Weller. Clearance Suns from half forward high. A deep kick to the pocket. Off hands and out of play. And we'll see a boundary throw in as the result of Gold Coast's 9th inside 50 entry. I think Cunnington's kick to half forward is the only time North's got it forward of centre. And we played 8 minutes of footy, 2-1 to nothing. Boundary throwing, Goldstein taps it down. A little kick along the ground from Phillips. Picked up there by Powell. Hand pass out the back to the 300 gamer. Goldstein under pressure, kick to the wing. Marked by Anderson of the Suns. And yet again, North Melbourne can't get beyond halfway as Anderson's right on the Anzac Appeal logo on the wing as he tries to set up this four-way forward. Goes short with the chip to Weller. Weller takes the grab, takes a thought or two, and will now kick a right boot long to the pocket. There's a lot of players under this. Casbolt the target, fisted away by Goldstein. Out of play, boundary throw in left forward pocket for the Suns. Jess Stewart on the boundary.
Alistair Clarkson coaching from the bench for North with a little bit of concern already looking on his face. So he's obviously communicating back to the bench as well with his coaching department as well. Just looking a little bit concerned at the moment.
Yeah, I understand that concern. 10 inside 50s to nothing as Goldstein gets the ball down. It's to Howe. His kick was semi-smothered, picked up by Will Phillips, and his kick straight down the throat of McPherson for the Gold Coast. He immediately kicks it to the goal square. Dangerous. King at the front. Roving Ainsworth under pressure. Got a handball out to Ellis. Ellis snaps with the right foot across the face. One behind. 2-2-14 plays zip. 9 and a bit gone first term. One-way traffic here at Carrara.
Kent McDonald garner something for North. He goes short from the kick-in. Marked in the pocket by Core. Core chips it to Taylor, who's right half back. He goes back inside defensive 50 with a kick back to McDonald.
They're trying to own the ball, North, but there's just not many options ahead of them.
Matt Primus with you on Grandstand AFL. Switch out to the opposite pocket. Mark taken by Load. Long kick towards a contest on the wing, and Powell in front takes a fine grab for the Suns. So again, there's like a glass wall across the wings here for North at the moment. They can't get it past halfway. Powell with a long right foot kick. Will pitch about 30 metres from goal. Chol protects the drop, got a hand, couldn't take the mark, having used his body well. Now placed tackler at ground level. Ball spills to North though. Powell's hand pass can't find a teammate. Casbolt's battling there with Hall, neither pick up. It rumbled to the middle of the ground, picked up by Curtis of North. Hand pass to Turner, hand pass to Hall. They're forward of halfway. Can they get inside 50? Hall's kick. Oh, it's a mongrel around the body. Andrew bats it away for the Suns and then causes a stacks on at the edge of the centre square. So the answer is no. They are not inside 50 yet, Pricey.
Not quite.
At 2-2-14 to nothing. 12 inside 50s to nothing.
Still inside the centre square, in fact, just short of half forward. Now Goldstein.
There it is.
Into the path there and kicked into the path of Lucky, who takes a mark 30 metres out directly in front, playing in front. They're first inside 50, and they could be 100%.
I tell you what, if Clarkson's teams are generally kick heavy. He needs more handball receipts. He's not going to get it past this wall. And their dump kicks out are getting cut off. It's just too easy for the Gold Coast at the moment.
Nick Larkey, 13 goals, 1 for the year.
Oh.
Averages 2.6 goals a game, so he goes okay. From 30 metres out directly in front.
6 goals.
I've torched him. One behind. 2-2-14. Plays one. If you want to win a grand final, stand me on the mark in the last 2 minutes. Fair dinkum. 14 plays 1, 11 and a half gone first term.
The second half's underway at Docklands. Carlton leads St Kilda by 4 points, 7-8 to 7-4. Long kick into right half back. No mark to Casbolt. He brings it down to Swallow, who rose for the Suns. Kick to the wing. Looking for Lukosius, well spoiled by Logue. Wins the crumb. Hands to Turner. Turner kicks North into attack. Larky's underneath it. Collins arrives late to spoil and rove and kick the ball from the pocket around the boundary line. Goldstein got to it, almost kept it in, but ran out of territory just over the whitewash. So a boundary throw-in will take place. 45 from North's goal at left half forward. Suns leading early on by 13 points.
Good hands, Goldstein.
He's in the ruck against Casbolt. He grabs it out of the ruck, shuffles a handball out, but it was intercepted. Hits the ground again. Goldstein grabs it and shoots out another handball to Davies Uniacke. Gets it back to Kane Turner. A wobbling ball inside 50, and Mac Andrew goes back and takes it right on the boundary line. The right back pocket. Goes across the face of goal, in fact, into the goal square to find Collins by foot. Collins looks for a target, or just makes it to Dust McPherson, just inside defensive 50. He goes long to the wing. Holman, he takes it and he gives off to Tuke Miller on the run.
And will chip down the line, marked by King between wing and half forward. Long way from home for Ben King. He sets up another Suns entry inside 50. High kick to the hot spot. Chol again the target. Goldstein got a hand to bring it to ground level. Logue does the roving for North. Got a hand pass to Mackay. Again a dump cleared kick. King got very high on the head of Taylor. Didn't take the mark despite the excitement in the box. It was a good leap, that's for sure. Lemons applies a tackle on Powell to wrap up the footy. That's Powell of North. There's a couple of them out there. And we'll see a bounce on the edge of the centre square, about 65 from the goal that the Suns were attacking. 13 points to lead to the locals.
It was a great leap by King. It actually hit him in the face. Yeah. Anderson gets the clearance, kicks it inside 50. Ben Mackay gets in front of his opponent in Lukosius and takes the mark. So North can take a bit of a breath. Only 13 points behind after 13 minutes of the first term.
They've got to hit the targets here.
Mackay flares a kick out wide, and that was a good kick. It was a good lead honoured there by Zerha. A good kick from Mackay. Zerha tries to bite off a kick to the wing. Now Goldstein was dealt with illegally, front on contact. Sharp kick, good short kick. It gave Goldstein the advantage and basically drew the foul. So Goldstein, another little 45, out to the wing. Finds Darcy Tucker, the former Freo player, down the line now. It's slow and deliberate from North, but it's working. Davies Uniacke, and he passes it on to Curtis Taylor. 70 from goal, right on the boundary in front of the interchange gates.
Casbolt standing the mark as Taylor kicks high and deep to a pack inside 50. Fly from Powell for the Suns. Couldn't mark Rovesy's own crumb. Hand pass to the boundary, though, stolen by Curtis of North. Kicks it back to the corridor. Bounces for McDonald at half forward. Hand passes to Hall. Hall's kick is a floater down the corridor looking to get to full forward. It's off hands, and Ballard there to clean up for Gold Coast. Chips it wide to Ellis. Ellis takes the mark, and after a bit of messy footy, now the Suns can try and control it out of their back half. Chip to Miller, chip to McPherson. They're still inside defensive 50, the Suns. Chips it to Lemons. Chips it to Powell. Still inside defensive 50. Chips it to Fiorini, still inside defensive 50. That's 6 chip marks. Oh, they're out now. Here's the kick wide to Ballard. Forward of half-back, defensive side of the wing. He kicks it to halfway. Weller takes the grab.
It's just like training drill stuff. It's just like chipping it around the witches' hats, and it's awkward to watch, but it's effective. And what's happening right in front of us now is Ainsworth's got the ball. Just a little bit uncontested. That's an awkward kick from Ainsworth towards Casbolt, who, as per Acker's wish, absolutely belted Goldstein as he went in for that contest.
That was a little Darude from Levi.
Yes, there's number one.
There it is. A little bit of dance music for you, as well as the chin music, and he chips it towards Darcy Tucker. Now, that was about a foot out of bounds. That's why the crowd was harking up. So it's all happening at Carrara. The ball's at right half-back for North Melbourne, though. Zeeble has it. They've sort of stemmed the flow. The Gold Coast had them on toast early. Bit more contested now, and that's a really good contested mark coming in there from Darcy Tucker in front of the grandstand commentary box. Michael Price, Quentin Hull with your experts, Jason Ackermanis and Matty Primus. 16
minutes played. Suns by 13 points. Kick from Tucker goes over the back, and Goldstein roves on half forward, doesn't go for glory, chips it to the pocket and finds the leading target, Stevenson, who tumbles and takes a chest mark 30 metres from goal. Oh, had visions of galloping Goldie at his 300th, kicking a goal there. Would have been North's first of the day, but unselfishly he's dished it off to the former Rising Star winner.
He can play this boy. He's quick. I like to see him more in the midfield, but he probably doesn't have the engine, but he's a good goal kicker.
90% accuracy.
5 in from the boundary. Sets up for the left-footed snap punt. That's an excellent finish from Jaden Stevenson to give the Kangas their first on the coast. He's now got 10 for the year. Gold Coast 2-2-14. North Melbourne 1-1-7. Almost 17 minutes travelled on Grandstand AFL. Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus, your experts.
Todd Goldstein, how about the work rate? He's down there at 2-on-1s, and then he's up there at half forward getting the ball and delivering to his forwards, Matty Primus.
Winning a crumb and then lacing it out on his left, wasn't it? And they have, I think you mentioned before, Pricey, they've settled well. North, they've evened up the contested ball. They're getting smacked early now. It's even, and even though their method by foot Acker is slow, and it's going to be hard work for their forwards, it doesn't. By them not playing quick, it means the Suns can't hurt them quickly off turnover. So I reckon that's something that Clarko's trying to do with them. There's no handballs. It's just nice kick mark. A bit boring to watch, but safer for them to get scored against.
But it's easily picked apart, isn't it? That's an awkward bounce by the umpire, and he'll bring it back for a secondary throw up in the middle of Carrara.
Yeah, if you're not switched on, Pricey, you can definitely get through them.
So, here we go. the light's taking effect here as the natural light fades out here late afternoon. North Melbourne with the clearance. It's explosive. It's the young Powell. He has a bounce and kicks it towards Larkey. At the back, that's a ripping mark. Ben Long. Oh, hasn't he made an impact in the back line for the Gold Coast Suns since moving from St Kilda? He kicks it towards the boundary. It's taken off the hands of McPherson, and that was not the exit they were after. Over the boundary line, get a throw in 45 metres out from the North Melbourne goal.
I think it was young Sheasel with the chase and spoil there.
He hasn't got a lot of the ball, Sheasel. He's been awesome early, but he'll need to get some more.
Boundary throw in, Northstown then attacking 50. No telling ruck, tap, kicked off the ground by Long, but straight to Taylor. Taylor kicks to full forward for North, but a 2-on-2 contest owned by Ballard of the Suns. Takes a clean one clunk mark among the pack. Chips it to the pocket, Millard marks. He chips to half back for Weller. And Weller just beyond defensive 50 at right half back. Suns 2-2, North 1-1 in perfect conditions on the Gold Coast, albeit a little blustery. Weller infield on the 45 to McPherson, and again they're looking to own the ball and switch it through defence. McPherson deep to the pocket for Ballard. Ballard chips to Andrew, who marks still shy of D50. There's the exiting kick, and he's kicked it straight to McDonald, who plays for North on the wing. That is a poor exit.
And that's when
Andrew.
it goes pear-shaped, Matty Primus, as you say. McDonald now for North, goes right and then goes left. Long off the hands of the pack. McPherson gives it back now to Ben Long, a standing start. He kicks it towards the wing off the hands of Roses, picked up there by Griffin Logue for North. Handball inboard to Cunnington. Cunnington off a step to former son Aaron Hall, looking remarkably like Shaggy from the 90s, Mr. Boombastic. He kicks it towards half forward off the hands of Zeeble, and that's a really good tackle in coming in from Lemons. Ball spills and it's a bit of a dump now. Rao Patsy's teammate on the back as the umpire awards a ball up at left half forward for North.
Getting a musical lesson here so far off you two.
Oh, we are 80s. Let's go to the 70s.
Ball up on attacking 50 for North. Comben clean possession. Hand pass to Cunnington for North. He's gang tackled, lost the ball. Ump says holding it. Free kick goes to Matt Rowell, who got some help from Fiorini in that tackle on the veteran Kanga.
I just thought the cornrows were more politically correct than invoking Snoop Dogg, that's all.
Well, that
Rowell,
would be Nelly you're talking about.
very short to Fiorini, who's still at right half back. Chips it short to Weller. He's knocking up getting touches in this first term. It's possession 7 for Lockie Weller. Infield on the 45 to Fiorini. Chip, mark. Boy, they're chiseling off a few of these here. Fiorini to Collins, Collins to Andrew. Andrew marks at centre half back. Now, his kick forward was the moment it came unstuck last time. He's looking around. He doesn't look all that confident. That is not 15. Umpire gives it to Lemons. Lemons hands it back to Andrew. Andrew with a floating kick which finds the chest of Ballard near the Anzac logo on the wing. Suns do get into attack, albeit just forward of the wing. A boundary hugging kick marked by Ellis. Ellis now runs infield. Here's the long kick to a contest. Wits the target in the pocket. Over the back though. King's got to the drop. Two defenders were drawn to Jared Witts. King watched the footy, takes a chest mark and will have a shot from hard in the pocket 30 metres out.
I tell you, Ellis was out there for like 2 minutes before it got to him. They are slow ball movement, but don't you love a big man taking your chest mark because the other guys couldn't get there. Well, that's great reading of the play there.
And he'll have to negotiate this blustery breeze, King. 10 metres in from the left forward pocket, 30 metres out. He's negotiated it beautifully. The right foot drop punt is Ben King's second goal and a third for the Suns. The Booglery-doo signals 3-2-20 to North Melbourne's 1-1-7. Earlier today it was the Crows by 3 points over the Hawks. Halfway through the third term at Docklands, it's the Saints by 7 over the Blues. 9-4-58 to Carlton 7-9-51 before our experts, Jess Stewart on the boundary.
Luke McDonald just came off for the Kangaroos and got some treatment to his right finger. I believe it was dislocated, so it looks like he's up and about now, just doing a bit of kicking work on the bench with the physio, so it looks like he'll be good to go.
Well, I hope they get a little bit more exciting at some stage because they can really cut them up, the Gold Coast Suns. Just more the kick and then the handball, just to break that line. It's pretty easy if they do it right. They can get through this North Melbourne defence.
Back in the middle, Goldstein got the tap down, but it was straight into the arms. The Gold Coast Suns swallow. He was tackled into the ground immediately, and the umpire will throw it back up. Ray Chamberlain.
Free kick.
He has awarded a free kick, and it was a hold against Goldstein. It'll go to Jared Witts. The Gold Coast. He wants to lay off a handball, but ends up laying his big left slipper into it. Chol had the sit, spoiled, roved by Holman. Got the handball out. Umpire's going to call a free kick for a chop of the arms against Aidan Corr. It'll go to Mab Chol. He'll have a free kick. 45 out directly in front.
The kick there from Witts was just had no penetration in it. Chol had the sit. I don't even know how he dropped that one.
Well, obviously his arm got chopped. That's probably the only excuse.
Yeah, he had the sit. It was right out in front.
So only kicked the 1 goal too so far for the year in his couple of games. So 31 games for the Tigers.
One today makes it 2.
One today makes it a couple. Forgot about his one today. Coming in for his second, Mab Chol. He's been under pressure. He's popped it up. He has just poked it. That hasn't got the legs. I think it snuck through. There is going to be a review. Immediately the question was asked by the goal umpire, and Ray Chamberlain ran in. And
so it's got the wind. That wind's just pushed it a bit. I like Ray. It looks like that TV must be one of those little ones we used to have when I was a kid. He puts up the review.
The little baby screen.
I think it hit the post.
Yeah, so that's what they're checking on.
Oh, there's a snick
there's
meter.
a snick.
That's a snick.
So it's actually grazed the right goalpost by the looks of things, and that's why the umpires got involved.
I reckon they need to change that whole rule. It's like soccer. If it hits and goes in, it's a goal. If it comes back out, it's play on.
Yeah, that's not a bad option.
That'll fix the problem.
It is behind.
What if it hits and comes back into the field of play, Acker?
Play on.
Play on.
The review makes it a behind, so 3-3-21, Gold Coast to 1-1-7. The Kangaroos with only a couple of minutes left to go of the first quarter.
Kick out to the left half back flank. Tucker's under pressure and outnumbered. Chol comes in to pick up for the Suns. Hand pass to Ainsworth, centering kick looking for Swallow. Over the top for Irini, got it, got tackled and dispossessed. Desperately kicked clear by Taylor of the Kangas, but straight to Witts of the Suns, 60 out. Kicks Gold Coast back to full forward. Casbolt in front, Low came to make the spoil. Zeeble roves, hand passes out the back to Sheasel, gives it to Hall. The Kangas from the deep full back position, kick towards half back. Tucker picks up as tackled. Let it go, up lets it go. Weller cleans up for the Suns. Hands it to Miller. Miller's kicked to full forward looking for Casbolt. Spoiled away from him. Red everywhere at the fall. Fiorini hands to Swallow. Swallow hands to Witts. The co-captains of a couple of years ago combined. And the current co-captain slots it for a goal. On big Witsy's off to the races, high-fiving everyone and running to the bench. Gold Coast 4 goals, 3-27. Lead North Melbourne 1-1-7.
I'll tell you, if you just did crumbing work today, you're going to have a chance, because they are just pressuring the ball, keeping inside their forward 50. The dump kicks aren't working. It's coming back in. If you're a small for Gold Coast, you should be just licking your lips, looking forward to a crumb and a goal.
Well, and the way they're playing, they know that they're going to outmark them too, Acker, don't they? They're just pumping in their advantage to their tools. They're looking like they're going to mark it, and as you say, if it comes to the ground, the North backs are under the pump. They don't look physically capable of running with some of the Gold Coast Suns small forwards.
I reckon Levi Casboult's ready to bust a few more packs. He's looking even stronger than he did at the start of the game.
It's quite a scary prospect.
Have a look at him.
Back into the middle. It's an awkward bounce. The umpire's going to call it back, and we'll have a throw up in the middle. It'll be Goldstein and Witts again doing battle to tall timbers.
Tough skill.
Ball's thrown up. Witt's got the front position. LDU copped a very high one. Nothing happened. The umpire didn't call it. He's going to end up with the ball anyway. He taps it back to Hall, then gets a little 1-2 from Hall. The handball to Sheasel. They're still inside the corridor. The ball gets kicked forward for North. It's a long one from Zerha to the right forward pocket. Cunnington lumbers after. He's tackled off it by Lemons. He then deals with Lemons. The ball's picked up. Good tackling effort. And the umpire says Ballard has been dispossessed by Comben. Really good tackle. He'll be rewarded for that. He'll have a shot, Comben, from 50, 45-degree angle to the right. He's not without a chance here. He's a really good kick of the football. I don't want to pump him up too much.
Oh, you did. Look what happened last time. But he's a chance. Into the wind. There's no wind down there, didn't mind you.
From right on 50, Comben strikes it well, but it slews off the right side. Comes back a little, but it's only a behind. 1-2-8 North. They trial the Suns 4-3-27 as the Suns play on.
And the ball's in the right back pocket. Another touch for Weller. Grabs it, hand passes to Long, space at right half back to trot a couple of paces and drive a pass to Casbolt, who marks on the Nerang River wing as the sun starts to set on this gorgeous Gold Coast Sunday. A bit of a pink hue in the stands, and in the clouds above as Casbolt kicks it along that wing. Mackay's in front for North. Takes a defender's grab, with which the target of that kick. So Ben Mackay just forward of defensive 50 at left half back. Going to kick it back from whence it came along that Nerang River wing. Looking for Goldstein. I think he's kicked it out on the full. Yeah, he has. And that's the last action of the first quarter. A quarter dominated by the locals. Gold Coast go to the first change. 19 points to the good of North Melbourne. It's the Suns 4 goals, 3-27, leading the Kangas 1-8. Ben King has a couple of goals. Mab Chol and Jared Witts, the other goal kickers for Gold Coast, while North Melbourne's only goal kicked by Jaden Stevenson. Repeating that scoreline at Carrara, it's the Suns 4-3-27, the Kangas 1-8. Earlier today in Launceston, a late goal for the Crows saw them pinch victory over Hawthorn. 3 points the margin there. Adelaide 11-13-79 over Hawthorn's 11-10-76. 5 minutes to go in the third term at Docklands. Another goal for the Saints. They're now 14 points to the good of the Blues. St Kilda 10-6-66 to Carlton's 7-10-52. And in the National Rugby League earlier today, the Gold Coast Titans blew a 26-0 lead to go down to the Dolphins, 28-26 at Lang Park. Meanwhile, the second half of the game between Manly Warringah and West's Tigers has just got underway. It's the Seagulls 12 leading the Tigers 6. Suns by 19 points, quarter time here at Carrara. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday footy through the national broadcaster ABC Sport on Grandstand AFL.
With the ABC Listen app, you can take the footy with you wherever you go. Off to walk the dog?
Take the footy.
Going camping?
Take the footy.
Picnic in the park?
Take the footy.
ABC Sport's expert coverage of the AFL.
Incredible grab.
And the NRL. Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Live and commercial free. So whatever you're up to,
Take the footy.
take the footy with you on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Goldstein versus Witts again. Goldstein gets this one. It's sharked by Anderson. And ball back inboard to Rowell on the left foot inside 50. Big pack and off hands. It's going to go for Chol. Gets it to the left foot and kicks one from 30 metres. Good bit of roving from the big man.
And King was the leading goal kicker the 2 years before. Of course, didn't play last year with his knee injury. He pumps his fist with the right boot. That's a fine strike from 30 metres out. Kick from Tucker goes over the back and Goldstein roves on half forward. Doesn't go for glory. Chips it to the pocket and finds the leading target, Stevenson. 5 in from the boundary. Sets up for the left-footed snap. Punt. That's an excellent finish from Jaden Stevenson to give the Kangas their first on the coast. And he'll have to negotiate this blustery breeze, King. 10 metres in from the left-forward pocket. 30 metres out. He's negotiated it beautifully. The right foot drop punt is Ben King's second goal. Miller's kicked to full forward looking for Casbolt. Spoiled away from him. Red everywhere at the full. Fiorini hands to Swallow. Swallow hands to Witts. The co-captains of a couple of years ago combined. And the current co-captain slots it for a goal.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Welcome back to Carrara. Quentin Hull and the team with you for Grandstand AFL. 18 inside 50s to 8 for Gold Coast in the first term. As one of the reasons why the Suns enjoy a 19-point lead at the first change here. Gold Coast 4 goals, 3-27 over North's 1-8. 9 possessions for Lockie Weller in that first term, 7 for Darcy McPherson. A host of contributors with 6 touches for North Melbourne. Cunnington, Lowe, Goldstein, Powell and Hall. A chance for our experts, Jason Ackermanis and Matthew Primus, to give us an assessment of how the Suns negotiated their way to a 19-point lead at First Oranges.
Well, they started pretty well, Acker. They were really strong around the ball. A lot of inside 50s, repeats. They looked like they were going to mark the ball at will inside 50 there. And North played into their hands a little bit. They played a little bit slow. As we said, pre-game when we were talking to Brad Miller. He said their handball chains off half-back are really dangerous, but it looks as if they've come a bit like the Suns have too. They're just both teams have playing keepings off, which I'm not sure the way the Suns want to go, and either at the North, but both teams are probably wary of turning the ball over and opening themselves up. Hopefully the scoreboard pressure or the scoreboard nourishment that the Suns have got, they can play a bit more faster here, because otherwise it'll be a long game watching. There'll be a lot of possessions for players around the ground, but not much worthiness to them all. But look, they look pretty strong. Their forward line looks really dangerous, puts a lot of pressure either in the air or on the ground against North's back, and the limited opportunities, I think 6 or 7 inside 50s North have had, they certainly look dangerous, but it's going to be hard work with their forwards if the ball comes in that slow as it did in that first quarter.
Interesting to see that they've sort of done a semi-tag with Holman on Sheasel, who's a wonderful player, and he's only in his, how many games he's played? He's only played a handful of games, so he's already getting the attention of the opposition. That said, I don't think the skill level of North at the moment is good enough to play any other game by this kick mark rubbish that no one wants to see. You've got to stand for something. So hopefully Stewie Dew and the Suns don't get sucked into this and keep playing like in response to them, because you can get through there and you can sieve them through the middle if you do get a handball receive, and all of a sudden the whole ground opens up. And I think I hope to see the Suns play a little bit more aggressive at this, in this quarter, but particularly not just out of the centre, but from the back half where they can get some run and carry. Chol looks good, and Levi's going to hurt some more people. He's already hurting the 300 gamer in Todd Goldstein, who's having a great game.
And just repeating that inside 50 count, the main team stat 18-8 in favour of Gold Coast in that first term. 4-3 to 1-2. It's a 19-point lead for the Suns. A couple of minutes left in the third term. Saints are now 20 points in front of the Blues, getting close to three-quarter time at Docklands. Michael Price.
So back into the middle of Carrara. That's a perfect bounce to start the second term. Witts with a perfect hit out down into the path of Anderson. He tumbles it to centre half forward. Roses, under enormous pressure, was dispossessed. Now Scott goes back for North. Handball to Davies Uniacke, who went back through traffic and then peeled off a beautiful pass straight up the corridor to Hall. Hall's got a runner. He gave it to him in Powell. Powell under pressure from Roses has turned it over at centre half back into the Suns now. Rowell's got it. He's going to chip it into the forward pocket. Lukosius. He was spoiled late by Mackay, but I reckon he had enough of that. It was a good mark, and he's taken it 40 out, but on a reasonably tight angle to the right, knowing the skills of this man.
Oh, he'll kick it over the top of the grandstand. But I think that kick from Rao, he made him wait and just give enough time for Mackay to get there to actually put some pressure on. It should have been an uncontested mark. A very bad turnover, but that's a better way to play for North.
The number 2 draft pick from 2018. He's found his spot in the forward line this year for the Suns. From 40, the right boot is straight into the left goalpost.
Play on, according to Acker.
Well, let's play on. That's not
play on.
It would be an exciting call, though.
Yeah,
can you imagine, Q?
Kevin Sheedy tried to get that in years ago. I love it. That should be the way it should be
4-4-28 to the Suns, 1-2-8 to North Melbourne, back to that game-high 20-point margin.
Yeah, no shave of the post like the one which at the review that was bounced back into play.
Yeah.
Hall runs out of the goalmouth for North. The ex-Sun drives the Kangas long to the Nerang River wing. Beyond the pack, Zerha taps it further forward and chases after it, but Rao beats him, but Zerha tackles him. Ball spills free. Picked up by Phillips of North Melbourne. Hand pass to Taylor. Taylor gives it to Howe. Howe's kick towards full forward. Gets out the back of the pack. Turner roving for the Kangas. Had a fumble. Goes again. Hand pass puts Curtis under pressure. Hands it out the back to Larkey. Larkey gives it to Scott. It's been attritional, but it's a point. Scott on his right boot, snapping around his body from 25 out. Kicks a minor score. And it's back to that quarter-time margin of 19 at 4-4-28 to 1-3-9.
So the Suns through Will Powell. Young West Australian out into the left-back pocket to find McPherson. I think I called him Daniel earlier.
Daniel McPherson.
Yeah, I did.
Isn't that the guy on
the actor?
Yeah.
No, Daniel McPherson played for Sydney.
Oh,
well.
Absolutely right. And
an actor.
Yeah.
And was the father-son. There you go.
Music, actors.
We
got it all covered tonight.
So Brandon Ellis now, former...
Again, main Grong Madong Riverina stock, Daniel McPherson.
Well, there you go. There's the Wagga reference as well, so it's all happening. So Sam Collins has gone down the outer side. It was fisted away from Rao. Well rove by Howe. Now it's chipped back into the wing to Griffin Logue. He juggles, then gets onto the left foot, Kicks it inside 50. Good contest, Larkey versus Collins. Roving Will Powell. Tackled. Got the handball away to McPherson. Back inboard to Mac Andrew. He lowers the eyes and chips it. A very nice pass to Lukosius up the ground.
Have a shot from there.
Well, not quite. Defensive side of the circle's anchor. Kicks to half forward. Marked by Roses. Turns immediately. Gets it one-on-one to King. Good spoil from Goldie. The 300 gamer brings it to ground. And Mackay Rose for North. Hand passes to Hall. Hands it to Logue. Logue to Mackay. Dropped it. Luckily, McDonald's there to clean up for the Kangas. Kicks it wide to the pocket and Scott marks. But North is still inside defensive 50, Jace.
Was there a Scott that played in number 8 for North years ago?
Yeah, his dad.
Yeah, Robert
It is
Scott.
his dad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we cleared that up. I was surprised.
Zeeble takes a bounce off. No, it wasn't Zeeble. It was Power with a bounce off half back, and his kick's turned over.
I've got to do some more research on the Scott boys.
Marked by Long. Long kicks infield. Marked by Rowell. Rowell kicks across the imaginary halfway line. Marked by Ballard near the centre circles. Kicks it to half forward. Witts has to pick it up on the half volley. Got tackled by Zahar. Got a hand pass clear though. Powell picks it up. Pressure arrives. Got the hand pass to King. To Ellis, should I say. He's tackled by Goldstein and holding the ball.
Good work, big fella.
And Goldstein earns a free kick for North forward of right half back. Suns leading it by 19 points.
Goldstein, little chip pass. It was in the path of Curtis Taylor, who duly dropped it. Now it's on to Lukosius, 70 from goal, chipping it into the pocket. Well done from Core, who fisted it away. It's roved by Ellis. Ellis off the side of the shoe and finds Roses 40 metres out, 35 metres out, more or less directly in front.
And that's where that style of play kills you. And Goldstein had an extra out forward of the ball, 40 metres if he faced forward, but because of the instructions, choose to kick a short kick. The big fella there didn't execute that small kick, turnover in their back half, and now cost them a shot against.
So the turnover would be better off happening down the field.
Exactly.
Have it down there, you set up behind the ball.
Malcolm Roses, Darwin product, the first one to be plucked out of that NT Suns Academy system. From 40 metres, he puts it across the face of goal, and it's out of bounds on the full. Methinks no, yes, it is. The umpire signalled a free kick to North Melbourne, and they'll bring it back in from the left back pocket.
19 points the lead to the Suns. 5 minutes played in the second term. As the Kangas bring it back into play. Long kick looking for Turner at left half back. Couldn't take the mark. At the back, Comben gathers. Doesn't want to keep it in. Decided not to handball and got tackled over the line. So we'll see a boundary throw in. Still just attacking side of the wing for the Suns. Led it by 19 points at quarter time. That's the current score line, with both teams adding a point so far in this second term. Boundary throw in, whistle on play. High contact free kick going.
Cunnington.
North Melbourne's way. Cunnington.
On the mark.
Disposal number 7 for Ben Cunnington. Just short of centre wing on the commentary side of Carrara. He just puts it into the path of Comben. Good spoil there from Ballard, who roves his own fist away. Handballs it back to Swallow. He tumbles it to the wing. Well gathered by Ainsworth, who handballs it forward to Big Casbolt. He loses it and then gets it back. Handball to Tuke Miller under pressure. Still on the wing. He gets it to Anderson. Chips it towards the corridor. It's intercepted. Young Phillips. Will Phillips gets in there. Handball to Davies Uniac, now backwards to Zeeble. He wants to turn and go back down the corridor and then comes left. Sees Cunnington, who puts out one big left hand, drags it in one-handed, kicks it with the right shoe towards full forward. One man standing, Jaden Stevenson roving, and kicks his second goal.
Aha.
Boy, that was hard to watch, but they got it and they made it work. 4-4-28, plays 2-3-15, and we have played around about 6.5 minutes of the second term.
I liked it, Zeeble, when he got the ball, he went forward. He first looked lateral, there wasn't anything on, but he didn't. He decided to go forward, went to Cunnington, who took a nice mark, but the forward action is what then made that kick go inside 50. And while the Suns should have spoiled that ball better, went to a 3-on-3 contest rather than going slower, where the Suns would have been able to get numbers back. Better ball moving by North.
Well, you've got the Suns with 3 up and sitting down. You can't give Stevenson that much room. He's too crafty and too quick. But Cunnington, he's run 100 metres and he's got, 10 touches. It's amazing. He just finds the ball. Smart players.
It's interesting. 10 touches is 150 metres gained.
See?
Literally.
He's run 150 metres. Amazing.
Centre bounce. Chol flies early and gets the tap over Goldstein, but it ricochets back to Goldie. And the Kangas have got the clearance. Hand pass through Davies. Uniac ends up with Hall. Chip around his body from the wing. Bounces over Goldstein into the hands of Powell of the Suns. Hands it to Fiorini. Hands to Anderson in the middle of the ground. Chips Gold Coast into a tackle. Not that deep though. Marked by Casbolt. Still 70 out. There's the deep kick from Casbolt to King, who takes the mark. He had the sit. Mackay coming back with the flight, but such a good, deep, quick entry from Casbolt allows King to take the mark, and he'll line up for his third from 20 out.
And that's the thing with Levi, like he's not the best kick, so going long is a better option, and he's got the option, so use it. The delivery to him, mind you, wasn't so good on the last play in.
Slightly right of centre, only 25 metres out. Ben King kicks his third goal for the afternoon, and that's 5 for Gold Coast. They're back out by 19 points. Suns 5-4, 34. Kangaroos 2-3, 15.
What about the cruel bounce to Goldie? He pushed forward hard. They were out north, but the bounce, the cruel bounce had landed and then bounced 7 foot over his head, and then it went to the Suns defenders and off they went, and they made them pay. But that's our game. That's why we love the shape of our ball.
But I think this is a better way for North to actually go about it. Like, you're not going to score and play this boring game. I feel like at quarter time you said, let's change it up, boys. Let's actually get our fast players into the game. Let's get some handball receivers. Let's look forward. If there's nothing on laterally, let's get a little bit more aggressive.
Jason Ackermanis and Matthew Primus with you. Quentin Hull and Michael Price calling the action. Jess Stewart on the boundary. Grandstand AFL at Carrara on the Gold Coast after the Crows beat the Hawks by 3 points earlier today. Saints are 21 to the good of the Blues as that final term begins. Back underway in the middle.
Beautiful by Goldie.
It was straight down to Cunnington, who actually got it straight to centre half forward. It dribbled inside 50. Now there's a pack forming. Stevenson's lurking. He throws his body on top of the pack. Let's peel off Ben Long from the turf as well as Will.
Doesn't Scott look like his dad?
The ball up at centre half forward. It's remarkable how that happens. Swallow gets it down. It's turned over then. It's back into the arms of the Suns through Tuke Miller. He comes towards the wing. Holman was spoiled by Sheasel. Now it falls in the path of Howe for North Melbourne. Goes right then left. Chips it to the arc of 50. Big contest. And well done from Ellis, who was underneath that pack. It was rove by Holman. His kick just outside defensive 50. North Melbourne will mop it up through Ben Mackay off hands. He's going to kick it long towards full forward. Casbolt's back there, off his hands. Now they've got another chance, North Melbourne. Bailey Scott bumped off it now. Weller did well to give it to Miller. Kicks it towards the wing, and it's still a contest with Davies Uniac.
He's tackled by Ainsworth. Gets his arms free to hand pass to Mackay. Too long, caught. He was trying to get a hand pass away as well, but King made a good tackle, and King earns the free kick for the Suns on the wing. Plays on quickly with a kick, which is marked by Rosas. Melroses Jr. just forward of centre wing, right near the interchange gates. Is going to hold it up. Now called to play on. McDonald standing the mark, so Rosas just kicks it up and under with 2 attacking 50. King almost got there to mark, rode by Holman. Hand pass intercepted by Cunnington. He tries to get rid of it once and twice, and a third time. Holman tackled him, but the hand pass stolen by Fiorini of the Suns. Hands it to the pocket. Swallow gets tackled. Hand pass comes free. Zeeble can't keep it in. He tried to give it to Sheasel. Well, he did, but Sheasel's out of play, and they'll throw it in. Gold Coast 5-4-34. North Melbourne 2-3-15. 11 minutes played second term.
Just having a look at Jaden Stevenson. Is it on the sideline there? It looks like he's got a bit of an injury there. We'll get Jess Stewart to have a look at that. He's limbering up on the sideline. Looks like a left leg. The throw-in happens on the arc of 50. It's picked up by the Suns. Ellis now handball to Darcy McPherson. Kicks it into the pocket. Worked his way to the front. Rove by Swallow now. Handball to Fiorini from a standing start. The left foot is across the face and one behind. Jess Stewart's on the boundary line.
Yeah, he's just doing some run-throughs at the moment and chatting to the physios, but he looks like he's trying to run it out at the moment. Not quite sure exactly what injury it is.
That'd be a cork, I'd say, if you're going to run something out.
20 points the difference. Short inbound from the Kangas to Phillips in the pocket. He kicks it back to full back, where Zeeble takes the grab. In the last line of defence, Zeeble spearing pass, looking for the lead of Larkey. Long way up the ground, Collins punches it away from him and the ball ricochets out of play. So we'll see a boundary throw in with the Suns still in attack.
Larkey could feel that moustache of Collins right on his back.
You don't get an easy ball playing on Collins, do you? He makes you earn every kick.
He's played mean, and with that moustache the last couple of years, he looks mean too. He looks the part. Boundary throw in. Casbolt beats Comben for the tap. Roved by Anderson of the Suns. Weaves around Cunnington. Kicks to full forward looking for Chol. It goes over the top of the contest. Howe first to meet it for North in the left back pocket. Got a boot to clear defensive 50. Sits on the head of Turner. He has it spoiled away by the fist of McPherson out of play. And a throw in with again Gold Coast attacking about 70 from goal at right half forward.
I mentioned McPherson. We've called a lot of footy of the Gold Coast Suns over the last few years. He seems like he's been on the list for 10 years. He's only 25. He is the son of Stephen McPherson.
Yes.
Wow.
So there you go. That's the father
from the Western Bulldogs.
Correct. Now the ball's picked up on the half-forward flank. It's going to be a free kick, though. Whistle on play. Lukosius dealt with illegally.
Have a shot.
Oh, look, he's only 90 out, Acker. So
he's 75.
He's forward of centre wing. You sell real estate. I told you I don't believe in your measurements. He kicks it inside 50. The lead was from Chol, a good fist away towards the boundary line. It's going to be a throw in as they sportingly pull Jack Zeeble up from the turf after that spoil. It'll be a throw in underneath the minor scoreboard, showing the Suns leading by 20 points.
And as expected, absolutely no flinch from Zeeble going back with the flight, even though Mab Chol was steaming into him. Boundary throw in, Suns still in attack. Oh, it hit Casbolt in the nose. Ricochet to Ellis on the boundary line. Snaps it to full forward for the Suns. Low flies, can't mark. Ball to ground level. Chol roves. Tackled by McDonald. Reefed off at play on. Cunnington with a hand pass to Phillips. Phillips rush clearing kick to half back. Needs a kind bounce and gets one. Picked up by Taylor, who kicks to Pagan's paddock, old Kangas fans. Where's Big King Carey? No, he's not there. He's got a helper though. It's Curtis picking it up, kicking it to full forward. Larkey couldn't mark. He gets a push in the back. That was like Robert Scott kicking it forward for Wayne Carey. It was Pagan's paddock as Larkey gets the free kick, opens up the angle, kicks the goal, and North get a much needed major to narrow the margin to 14 points. Suns 5-5-35 to the Kangas 3-3. 21. Jess Stewart on the boundary.
Jaden Stevenson's just gone back on for the Kangas, so obviously he's been able to run that issue out. And Alistair Clarkson's coming right up to literally as his players come straight off the field at the moment. Quite animated as he's coming up to his teammates, as his players. So he obviously thinks that the Kangas are right, well and truly in the thick of this contest at the moment.
That was one against the grain, the Pagan's paddock. Although then again, if you're a defender, who was that who should have just taken it straight?
Ballard should have taken Curtis out of it, put his big body in front and say, right, it will turn into a contest rather than a foot race, Acker.
Yeah.
Well, they're +5 in possessions in the second term, 6-3. They're behind in the clearances, but they've got the inside 50s basically on parity, so it's not as bad as it was in the first term. So North at least giving the contest some life again. Umpire throws it up. Cunnington over the top gives away a free kick, and it's going to go to big Jared Witts, who plays on by hand. Fiorini runs to the left side, uses his left boot to effect a full forward. Mab Chol got rid of everybody and stood tall, takes the mark 35 out directly in front.
He looked surprised there, Mab Chol. A great delivery, but he sort of got rid of his opponent, who's about 4 foot shorter than him, and thought he looked at the umpire when he took that mark. But great handball from Witts. Fiorini, that left foot, beautiful from the little Italian, straight down big Charlie's scone.
1-1 for this evening. Mab Chol.
He's good from here. I'll back him in.
According to Jason Ackermanis, this is a soda for Mab. Of course, it's a point. Of course, it's a point. 5-6-36. You got to learn this stuff, Acker. It's commentator's curse. 3-3-21.
That's a terrible kick at goal. He took 3 steps, Matty.
It is, mate. I reckon they've had 3 of them this quarter here, and they're
30 out straight in front. Keyford, you've got to eat that up. Zeeble with the long kick in to the feet of the pack. Goldstein does roving and gets tackled. Ball up, Matt.
I was going to say, I don't think they're going to lose this game. They're keeping North in it by these simple shots on goal, and you've got to be careful. If you don't take your opportunities, eventually the tide will turn and North will take theirs.
Goldstein with the tap down from the ball up on the wing. There's a whistle though.
Free kick.
Out of zone umpire pays the free kick to North Melbourne, and Davies Uniacke was held on to. So he chips it backwards to McDonald, not 15. Marks forward of left half back. McDonald gets on his left boot, kicks the Kangas to half forward. Target was Combens, fisted away from him. Fall of the pack, Curtis does the roving. Hand pass puts Powell under pressure, he loses it. Coming in Ellis for the Suns. Taps it free of the congestion, but Comben there. He got tackled by Witts. Tried to kick it, then he dropped it. And the umpire says no, ball up.
Pressure's good, though, if you're a Gold Coast fan. They are on them.
So Witts and Goldstein go at it again. This one, Goldstein into the path of Powell, who dribbles it towards half forward. Howe grabs it, deft hands towards Scott, who was tackled off it. Now Will Powell for the Suns, through half back. That's a great handball to Ainsworth, who sweeps one across to Weller at left half back, through the hands of McPherson, then Lemons. That was really well worked. A long kick towards left half forward. Roses, it bounced beautifully for him, and then 1 against 2, and then Logue went back. Got his hand in there. Aaron Hall, the former Sun. Now it's with Darcy Tucker. He weaves through traffic, goes backwards to half-back, gives it to Luke McDonald. He sees Sheasel just short of the wing on the outer side. He takes a mark and slows things up.
They've got to get him into the game.
How many's he had, Pricey?
5, I think.
Sheasel's only had the 6 touches.
6 now.
A couple of chips, and now Tucker on the wing for North. Kicks inside 50, doesn't get anywhere near the target of Larkey. As Powell floats back to mark for the Suns. Chips it across the face of goal, marked by Lukosius. He down the corridor with a dangerous kick, looking for Rowell, went over his head. Never mind those Suns fans. Holman turns up to gather the crumb, hands it through Collins. His chip to Weller. Weller from the wing spears it into the GC on the chest of the leading Ainsworth, who takes the mark 40 metres out.
Yeah, poor North defenders there. The ball was streaming down uncontested. They didn't know whether to go back or come forward. They got caught in 2 minds and an easy lead up there.
Well, Weller had Chol out the other side as well, so he
plenty
had
of options.
Plethora of options. But what a kick. You like the ball in his hands if he's going to kick like that to your forward.
12 touches, 100% efficiency with 5 inside 50s.
It's been amazing, his agility and pace coming back from an ACL, Lockie Weller. And the pass inside 50 gives Ainsworth the chance to kick the 6th goal of the game for the Suns.
Kick it.
He likes it. Ainsworth has kicked the goal. His first of the night, now 5 on the season for him, and a 21-point lead for Gold Coast. It is a game high at 6-6-42 to 3-3-21, 19 and a half second term. Earlier today, the Crows by 3 over the Hawks, and the Saints holding the Blues at bay at Docklands. Early stages final term, St Kilda 12-8-80, lead Carlton 8-11-59. Matt Primus, Jason Ackermanis.
I would like to see Roses. Is it Roses or Rose?
Roses.
Roses. I would like to see him one out. He's got some wheels.
Got some
and
trick,
boy,
yeah.
I know you got the 3 big guys deep, but if they could get him isolated in the forward line. Now, I saw that contest over there wasn't that great, but if they work on that, he would be a star down forward.
He has definitely. He's shown glimpses of that, Acco, since his introduction over the last year or 2.
Oh, he's lightning quick. And just Aaron looks like he's in the XL tonight. The big fella.
Goldstein gets it down to Zerha for North Melbourne. He's immediately under pressure from Rowell, so he has to drop it onto his toe, only a couple of metres away. A pack's going to form. North will get it through Comben. He did well, got it handball out. It's towed inside 50, but that was a very ordinary kick. It's going to bounce well for Stevenson, though. He gathers on the 50. That's a very intelligent, beautifully weighted kick into the path of Curtis Taylor. Jaden Stevenson showing his skills there. Taylor takes the mark 30 metres out. It's a pretty sharp angle to the left, though, just further of 45.
I'm just looking at that flag, and what about the wheels from Jaden? But you can see it's only just flapping down that end. I think it's dropped as it did yesterday when I went out for a kick with my cousin.
Well, Zerha in the middle there, he got the ball out. But it's in the hands of Curtis Taylor. To the boos of the Gold Coast crowd. He strikes it well. Sneaks it in. North get their 4th goal. 6-6-42 the Suns. North Melbourne 4-3-27, back to 15 points the margin, 21 gone second term on Grandstand AFL.
They're just hanging around, Matty, aren't they? They're just being annoying, but the wheels of Jaden Stevenson, I know he was down there on the bench, but whatever the problem was, there's no problem there because his left slipper, beautiful kick.
Yeah, and Clarko's got the best out of him, hasn't he? He was in the wilderness, or has been in the wilderness the last 3 or 4 years, and that can happen to those talented players that rely on a lot of good ball, and he's been in a poor team, but Clarko's been able to realign him a little bit and still show his skill, but actually win some of his own ball, and he did that on that occasion then.
Very interesting.
They're just playing a bit better brand of footy when they get a turnover to North. I'm liking it.
Well, they're sticking around, Jace, that's for sure. 15 points is the lead, and the elastic band hasn't stretched beyond 21 points, so they haven't let it get out of hand. No clearance from this ball up as Rowell plays tackler on Powell. Rowell and Powell, or was it Zurha in there? I think it might have been Zurha, to be honest. No, Powell's there too. There's a secondary ball up. Miller with the clearance for the Suns. Hand pass to Rowell. Quick kick inside 50. Pitches in front of the pack. Hall plays tackler on Fiorini. Ball spills free. Holman charges through. Doesn't get a clean stat away. Lukosius taps it to himself and gathers. Throws it on his boot from 30 but can't curl it back. He's kicked it out of bounds on the full. And it will be a free kick to North Melbourne. Logue to take it adjacent to the point post in the left back pocket. 22.5 second term. Suns 6-6-42. Kangas 4-3-27.
Logue brings it back in. Long left foot kick. Oh, Comben, good mark. Beautiful. Good pack mark in front of Ballard, and that's no mean feat. 70 from his defensive goal. He wheels around the right foot long down the line, and that's another good contested mark, this time from Larkey against Collins. He plays on. 50-metre kick inside 50. Comes off hands. It's well roved. Now it comes down to Curtis. He can't quite control it. It runs loose. McAndrew gets a handball away. Now under pressure. There's another element that Stevenson's added to his repertoire. He's a beautiful tackle. He and Kane Turner absolutely buried Sean Lemons there, and it's going to be a ball up in the left forward pocket.
Where was Lemons' aid?
Hey.
Boundary throw in. Anderson gets a hand pass out to Lemons. There he is, kicking it outside, defensive 50. Pitches in front of Lukosius. Ricochet picked up by Fiorini of the Suns. Hands it to Ellis. Ellis's kick to the wing is marked by Swallow. Right on halfway, David Swallow. As the Kangas are just coming at the Suns here a little. Kick inside on the 45. Pitched in front of Rowell. Puts him under pressure. Rowell did well. Get a hand pass to Miller, who's on hands and knees and out and numbered. Hand pass turned over. Zeeble for the Kangas. Hands it to Cunnington. Hands it to Hall. Hands it to Powell. Powell deep kick to the forward line. Andrews underneath it for the Suns. Drops it under the pressure from Phillips. And the ball ricochets out of play for a boundary throw in.
Missed opportunity. They had forwards out advantage, and he kicked it to McAndrew's advantage, unfortunately, then Zeeble.
It was Curtis who made the spoil there on Andrew as the ball's about to be thrown in.
Ball kick from Swallow. You've got to make there's 15-metre kicks.
Good competitor, Curtis. Now the throw in. Goldstein, the front position. It's a horribly shallow throw in. It bounces before the ruckman, makes it awkward. Rowell roves, handball back to his mate in Anderson. Long kick down the wing. It's Griffin Logue. He's in best position for North Melbourne and takes it right in front of the grandstand commentary box. His left leg on the boundary, wants to go backwards onto the Anzac logo. It didn't even make Zeeble. On the bounce, he gout it and then the handball back to Logue. Now they put themselves under pressure. Handball to McDonald, tackled there by Lukosius, holding the agate. Just messing about with the pill. And the Gold Coast, that's a really good tackle from Lukosius, well rewarded.
15 points the lead to the Suns. 25 minutes travelled in this second term on Grandstand AFL. Short kick from Lukosius infield to Ellis. Marks and chips it to Miller. Chip mark.
5 metres up high.
It's a bit frustrating, isn't it, Acker, as Miller chips it back to Ellis. Ellis chips it backwards to King, who's at half back. Oh, no, that's Lemons at half back. He chips it back to Andrew.
Needs some aid.
He's at full back, Andrew. Chips it to Long. Long chips it to Collins. So they've gone from the wing on our side to the outer side left half back flank. Now there's a kick down the Nerang River wing. That's a good one, marked by McPherson. North are giving them these kicks, though. Like, they're set up behind the ball. Wow. Short kick didn't get to Weller. He half volleyed it, but he kicks it backwards to Lukosius. This is why statistics are so hard to look at it sometimes.
Well,
all these touches are meaningless.
If you could just get and break this line here, you've got guys out the back. Look at this, they're only 50 metres away. Here it is.
I'm not handing over to Pricey until it goes beyond halfway, Michael. You might have to wait a bit. They've kicked it across half back just for the... Stick with me for the nature of the exercise.
There it is.
Andrews at half back, over halfway with a kick.
Oh, there you go. Barely over halfway. It actually landed on halfway, Q, so you cut yourself short. It was the fist from Cunnington who put it back into the corridor, picked up for the Suns by... It was Swallow, gave it back to Miller. Under pressure, back into the circles to McPherson. Off the outside of the right shoe into the path of King. It was fisted away, rove by Anderson. His kick was in the path of Witts. The big man tapped it forward. Scholl versus Logue on the boundary line, and the two big men take it over the boundary line. It's going to be a throw in, and Jared Witts slow to get up after that contest. He did get up. He lumbers back, and he's going to go up against... Well, it looks like Goldstein made his way down there as well. So the throw in the left forward pocket For the Gold Coast Suns, again a shallow throw in. They make it there though. Goldstein, rowed by Barley Scott. His kick semi-smothered. No, it wasn't. Actually, it was just a mongrel off the boot and was taken there by Locke Weller. 45 out, 45-degree angle to the left.
He'd love to have a ping from here. He's a beautiful kick.
Well, he's had 13 disposals at 100% efficiency. 5 inside 50s, so he might as well have a shot at goal.
And we're not even at sort of a year off his ACL. He did that in round 11 last year, Lockie Weller.
That's right, and it was horrific too.
He's come back so well.
Well, you very rarely see it. Somebody comes back almost as better. From 50, Lockie Weller, he's got under that one. Made it to the pocket. Off hands, there's a whistle on play. It's going to be a free kick. It'll go to the Suns.
King shepherded off the ball.
So Ben King and Mab Choles getting into it with Griffin Logue off the ball, but
Aidan Core, just a silly, no need to put a body on him then when they had 3 or 4 in the air.
So Ben King, he's got 3 tonight. He's only had 5 touches, 2 contested marks, but he's around about 10 metres out. On a very sharp angle to the right.
Drop punt or a checky, Akka?
Drop punt. He can't do check sides. He's not that talented.
He's holding it for a drop punt. Ben King. Straight through for his 4th goal. The Suns extend their lead 7-6-48. North Melbourne 4-3-27. Back to that 21-point lead late in the second quarter on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah. And Saints look like they're going to get the Blues. There's only 7 minutes left at Docklands. St Kilda 12-9-81. Lead Carlton 8-11-59.
Are they playing unbelievable football, the Saints? But down here at Carlton have got some problems losing to St Kilda. Not that that's a bad thing. They're just not playing well enough. But down here, Marvel Charles is... You give it to his direct opponent as well. So he's really up and about for the contest, Child. Good goal from Ben King, who hadn't had the best delivery. Got a couple of free kicks. He's done well with a couple of chest marks, but it's only a matter of time before he takes some big pack marks, Ben King.
Well, 2 goals in the first quarter, 2 goals in the second. That's sort of 80s, 90s full forwards type of rate. And right on half-time, we restart play only for the Hooter to send the players to the change rooms to assess things at the fulcrum of the contest. Gold Coast extending its lead from 19 to 21 from quarter time to half-time. In that turn, the Suns kicking 3 goals 3 to North Melbourne's 3 goals 1. Gold Coast 7 goals 6 48. Lead North Melbourne's 4 goals 3 27. So 21 points is the lead for the locals. And as mentioned, King with 2 in the first and 2 in the second has 4 goals for the afternoon. Single goals to Witts, Ainsworth and Chol. While for North Melbourne, Stevenson has a couple. Curtis Taylor and Nick Larkey kicking goals as well. So 19 points at quarter time. Now 21 points the difference. Earlier today it was Adelaide by 3 points over Hawthorn in Launceston. Still a 23-point lead for the Saints over the Blues, getting laid on at Docklands. And just before our experts, the news in the NRL today, Gold Coast blowing a 26-point lead against the Dolphins. Dolphins winning at 28-26 at Lang Park and getting laid on at Campbelltown. Manly will ring a 20 lead the West Tigers 16. But Jason Ackermanis, Matthew Primus, your thoughts on what we've seen in the first half of footy?
Well, the first quarter was a snooze fest, let's put it that way, from North Melbourne, who tried to just hold on to the ball and not get heavily scored against. But the second quarter was actually much better. They looked more aggressive, North Melbourne. I know that the Suns were very happy with that because then they got turnovers and could go inside their full 50 to one-on-ones. That said, I'd rather see that type of footy, Matty Primus, than this rubbish they served up in the first quarter. And the Gold Coast Suns, I'm really happy with their pressure. They're going to need more from Sheasel, who of course is getting heavily tagged out of the game. But I'm really impressed with some of the work rate, particularly for the 300 game of Goldstein. And I'm liking what I'm seeing. Those big forwards aren't getting in each other's way, and they're working well together, Matty Primus.
Yeah, they are, Akka, spot on. They actually lifted their work rate around the ball in that second quarter, North Melbourne, and that's what gave them a few more inside 50s and kept it away from the dominance that the Suns had in the first quarter for the inside 50s. And then they looked a bit more dangerous going forward, but when they made some silly mistakes and weren't hard enough over the ball, and the counter-attack cost them back the other way, it exposed them a bit. You know, they're up to 30 inside 50s, the Suns, at the moment. If they end up having 60 to 70 inside 50s for the game, you can see eventually their talent's going to overwhelm them there. But North have just got to try and win more of the ball through the middle of the ground, more contested ball. If they can do that, they've got a forward line that's going to worry an undersized and underaged Suns back line here. But yeah, it doesn't look like it. Hopefully, as you mentioned, Aka, both teams attack a little bit more off half back and take their advantage and give their forwards more of an advantage when it goes forward.
Well, Larky's only had the one goal. He's looked dangerous.
He has, yep.
Get him out one-on-one. He's going to kick a few more. But that said, it is still the battle of the midfields. And I just want to see a little bit more lift from the North Melbourne midfield to go up against what is a pretty dominant midfield at the moment from the Gold Coast.
Noah Anderson has had 7 clearances in the first half. So, speaking of that battle of the midfield, we're so used to Matt Rowell having a lot of those numbers. He's only got the 2 clearances, and Toog Miller's got the 2. So we were speaking about that in the pre-game, needing to get a bit more of a rotation through that midfield, and Noah Anderson stepping up in that regard today.
He has, and Toog Miller in the first quarter and a little bit in that second actually went forward a little bit more, which you don't see too much in his game. So they are trying a few things, and Anderson he's a different player to Miller and Rowell, isn't he? He has the ability to break away with a bit of speed and a bit of agility in there. So yeah, he's definitely played well around the clinches so far.
And Holmer's doing the job on Sheasel. You know that you're going well when you're getting tagged by a very experienced player, and he's tagged him basically out of the game. I mean, he's averaging high 20s into the early 30s the last few weeks. So that is Stewie, hats off and for Holman to do the job on it. It's not an easy task.
It'd be good to see what Clarko does, whether, young fella, you got to work your way through this, or, hey, let's try and throw you up on the wing, or because he's definitely a guy that they want the ball in the hands. How can they try and release him to get a bit more of his ability kicking and handballing and making things up as it goes along?
Thanks, Matt. Thank you, Jason. 21 points to lead to Gold Coast. Half-time, that score again, Suns 7-6-48. Kangas 4-3-27. Only 2 minutes left at Dockland. Saints are 22 points to the good of the Blues. So it looks like a win for St Kilda there. We'll give you the margin on the other side of the news, which we'll head to now here on this Sunday afternoon, which is now turned to Sunday night. There are no natural light around now. The artificial lights taking place, lighting up the stadium here with the Suns leading by 21 points at half-time. We'll be back after the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. The Victorian Government has not yet made a decision about whether the family of satirist and comedian Barry Humphries will be offered a state funeral. The death of the beloved entertainer has prompted an outpouring of tributes from his home country, Australia, and from around the world as well. Victoria's Minister for Creative Industries, Steve Dimopoulos, says a decision about a memorial for Humphries will be made in the coming days.
We're in conversation with his family in relation to the best way to honour his legacy and his contribution to Victoria, so there'll be more information to come at an appropriate time. The primary mover of these things is the family because it's their gift, effectively.
And the New South Wales Premier Chris Minns has paid tribute to Barry Humphries, calling him one of the funniest people in the whole world. The 89-year-old died in a Sydney hospital yesterday, surrounded by family following complications from hip surgery. Mr Minns says he took Australians' larrikin humour to the world.
Popularised that Australian character, that story, that funny story, that larrikin adventurism that we saw from his pretty fearless humour over the years. So my condolences to his family. We've lost a true Australian legend, one of the funniest people that's ever lived, not just one of the funniest Australians, but one of the funniest people in the whole world.
The WA Premier says he raised the cases of 2 detained Australians while he was in China. Cheng Lei has been detained in China since 2020, and Dr. Yang Hang Jun since 2019. Mark McGowan says Vice Foreign Minister Mao Zhaoshu had asked if he wanted to have a meeting when he was in China. Mr McGowan says he raised the cases at the request of the federal government.
As part of the meeting on a couple of occasions, I raised the matters surrounding those people and said it would be in the interests of both countries if the matter could be resolved as soon as possible and if they could be returned to Australia. So I took the opportunity to do so.
Queensland Health will launch an investigation into the treatment of an Australian Army veteran shot dead by police in North Queensland on Friday. Peter Quattrocelli reports.
Police were called to the home of 52-year-old Stephen Angus in the Townsville suburb of Kerwin on Friday evening after receiving reports of a man threatening to harm himself. It's alleged the veteran advanced towards officers while wielding multiple knives when police shot him dead. The ABC understands police attended a disturbance at the same address on Bel Air Avenue a day earlier, when paramedics took Mr Angus to hospital. Queensland Police Union President Ian Levers questioned the support given to the veteran after he was admitted to hospital.
I will suggest this person should still be alive had the professional care of being given.
Townsville Hospital will now complete a clinical review into the incident.
To overseas news, and US President Joe Biden has confirmed America's military has evacuated US diplomats and their families from the strife-torn Sudanese capital, Khartoum. Mr Biden says the US military acted on his orders in conducting the mission in Sudan, which is currently in the grip of a violent power struggle between rival groups. Earlier, Sudan's Rapid Support Forces paramilitary said 6 aircraft were used in the evacuation mission, and it had coordinated operations with the US. Exactly how many people were airlifted out of Sudan has not yet been confirmed. Brazil's president has sought to downplay differences with Western powers over Ukraine during a visit to Portugal. The BBC's Alison Roberts reports from the capital, Lisbon.
Mr Lula da Silva recently angered Ukraine and its supporters by saying that both it and Russia had decided to go to war and that the US was fomenting the fighting. On welcoming him to Lisbon on Saturday, Portugal's president, Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, stressed his own country's support for Ukraine while not criticising his guest. Mr Lula da Silva said Brazil had condemned Russia's invasion, including in a UN vote. He reiterated his proposal for a group of countries, including Brazil, to mediate a resolution.
Turning to sport, and American boxer Gervonta Davis has beaten countryman Ryan Garcia by technical knockout in their catchweight non-title fight in Las Vegas. It was the first career loss for Garcia in 24 fights. The WBA regular lightweight world champion Davis is unbeaten after 29 fights, with 27 of them knockouts. Davis told Foxtel Main Event that he was surprised that Garcia was unable to continue after being hit with a body shot in the 7th round.
I thought he was going to get up, but I like to play mind games. So when he was looking at me, I was looking at him like, trying to tell him, like, get up. And then he just shook his head no.
That's all the news for the moment. For more at any time, you can download the ABC Listen app.
Victor Moa, Boomerang, Hills Hoist, One Day Cricket. Aussies are an inventive lot. It couldn't have been made anywhere else. Tony Armstrong is rolling open the shed door to explore Aussie creations.
They tell us who we are and the times we live in.
And in there lies the charm.
From Speedos to Stubbies to the humble meat pie.
Enjoy the show.
Great Australian stuff. Tuesday nights on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Sees Cunnington, who puts out one big left hand, drags it in one-handed, kicks it with the right shoe towards full forward. One man standing, Jaden Stevenson roving and kicks his second goal.
Chips Gold Coast into a tackle. Not that deep though, marked by Casbolt, still 70 out. There's the deep kick from Casbolt to King, who takes the mark. He had the sit. Slightly right of centre, only 25 metres out. Ben King kicks his third goal. Larkey gets the free kick, opens up the angle, kicks the goal, and North get a much needed major. Ainsworth the chance to kick the 6th goal of the game for the Suns.
Kick it.
He likes it. Ainsworth has kicked the goal.
Curtis Taylor to the boos of the Gold Coast crowd. He strikes it well, sneaks it in. North get their 4th goal. Lockie Weller, he's got under that one, made it to the pocket. Off hands, there's a whistle on play. It's going to be a free kick. It'll go to the Suns. Ben King, straight through for his 4th goal.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Saturday night footy at Carrara on the Gold Coast. Welcome back. Quentin Harlan, the team with you for Grandstand AFL on ABC Sport. It's Gold Coast leading North Melbourne by 21 points at halftime. The Suns 7 goals, 6-48 to the Kangaroos 4-3-27. Ben King's kicked 4 goals. 2 in the first quarter, 2 in the second quarter. It was a 19-point lead for the locals at quarter time, and now 21 at the main break. Game's over at Docklands. St Kilda has beaten Carlton by 22 points. The Saints 12 goals, 10-82 to Carlton's 8-12-60. That was after Adelaide defeated Hawthorn by 3 points at York Park and Launceston. The Crows 11-13-79 over the Hawks 11-10-76. And the 2 games for this Sunday of the National Rugby League are complete. The Manly Warringah Sea Eagles have defeated the West Tigers at Campbelltown. Sea Eagles 22, Tigers 16. And earlier today, Dolphins coming from 26-0 down against the Titans to beat them 28-26. A couple of games in the A-League today. Melbourne Victory 2's defeated Macarthur 1. And to come later on, it's Perth up against Adelaide United. But here, 7-6, 48-4-3, 27. Gold Coast leading the way by 21 points. Ben King with the major numbers. Michael Price as far as in front of goal with 4. But what else have you got on the stats board for us?
Well, Darcy McPherson leads the charge for the Gold Coast Suns with Lockie Weller, 14 disposals apiece. Lockie Weller, though, 93% disposal efficiency with his 5 inside 50s to go with that. Noah Anderson, as you pointed out earlier, 7 clearances with his 13 disposals. Will Powell, Tuke with 11 apiece. For North Melbourne, Cunnington's got 14 with 8 of those contested with 3 clearances. Zeebel's got 12. Davies Uniacke, Aaron Hall both with 12. Griffin Logue and Powell both have 11. Overall, Gold Coast are plus 17 in the disposal count. They're plus 4 in clearances. They're actually down in the hit-out, so Goldstein leading the hit-out 17-12. And inside 50s, that's where the Gold Coast Suns have got them 30-19. But, boys, it's just basically been, I suppose it's been a strange game to call because it's been so stop, start, chip, kick, chip mark. Just wanted to see that little bit of extra run, that overlap handball or something similar. It just seems to be quite stilted at the present time.
Well, the whole season's had teams, particularly bottom teams or teams with new coaches, trying to play a more aggressive rebound type of footy if you can, get the overlap run, come through the middle. Very exciting stuff. You've seen what they've done with Craig McRae's done with Collingwood. Anyway, they serve up that rubbish for a quarter, and then no doubt, I think, Alice, he's a pretty cagey coach. He'd be saying, hey, boys, it's not going to work. We can't score. We've limited the damage. We didn't get blown off the park. And they got themselves back in the game. What do you know? And if they could just kick straight to each other and use the handball a bit more efficiently, they'll be getting inside 50. They'll be back in the game. That's what I'd be saying at half time. I don't know what you'd say, Matty.
I reckon both forward lines would be saying the same to their teams, wouldn't they, Acker? It's like, hey, the Suns tools, we're saying, hey, get it in here one-on-one. We're going to clunk the ball all the time. And the North forwards, whether they're their tools or smalls, hey, if you give us a one-on-one, we've only had it 3 or 4 times in that second quarter, but we kicked your goals, get it in nice and quick, and it's without taking risks. Just face forward, and you'll find an option going forward or a handball receive. And as you mentioned, Acker, the first quarter was slow. The second quarter, definitely North tried to move the ball a little bit quicker and at least go forward with a bit of momentum rather than going sideways and backwards, because both goals late in the quarters came from both teams when they turned the ball over with a short kick that missed, put the guys under the pump. So hopefully we see a bit more of an attacking brand from both teams in this second half, and Suns should. They're comfortable on the scoreboard, comfortable-ish on the scoreboard. I would like to see them trying to attack a little bit more and give their forwards better opportunities.
If I was playing on a deck like this, Pricey and Mattress, I would be saying, give me the ball, get the handball received, just get it to me, get it out in space. They've got some guys with some wheels of sun. So do North, don't get me wrong. I mean, Aaron Hall looks like he's been out to a good paddock, but he's getting a game and he's been serviceable. But they've got to start using a ground like this, guys like Stevenson and Ainsworth and guys who go Roses, they should be just loving this.
But the kicks don't have to be perfect. Just get it in the area.
Yep.
And let them do their magic.
The rest, look what the Stevensons did over here. Yeah. Little left foot snap, one-on-one.
Is that a confidence thing about the confidence in your teammate to just get it towards the contest as opposed to picking off that perfect kick?
I think there's a little bit of both teams are under the pump.
Yeah.
Which, North don't have to. I think we all accept where North are in their phase of with Clarko come on board and changing up how they go. But you bring in an Aaron Hall, just for argument's sake. Hawley's no good if he gets it 15 times and just chips it 20 metres to his left or right or little kicks forward. He wants to take the ball, have a bounce and move the ball 70 metres down the field. That's what Aaron Hall's in your team for. Hopefully they do a bit of that, but I reckon it's a bit of where both teams are sitting in their psyche, in their rooms. They're both a bit apprehensive of how they're going, and they're playing that way at the moment.
The Suns are doing it better inside 50, so they've had 16 shots from their 30 inside 50s, operating at 53%, whereby North Melbourne are operating at 37%, 7 from 19. But looking at all the other stats, you can see that the Suns have got the dominance. They've got the slight dominance on the scoreboard, but I'd just like to see them put the foot down a little bit more and exploit this North Melbourne team defence that isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, I mean, Clarko will be spewing, because you could look at some of the footies. Everyone was man on man, and they came out and they kicked to the smallest guy outside of 50. Little things like that Clarko wants to fix up. That said, Stewie Jew should be saying, come on, boys, we're going to play our brand of footy. You've got to stand for something. Let's get it back through the middle, play it on quick. Their defence is very leaky and looking very average. How about we try and exploit it? Because it's our house, it's a great deck, it's a great night, and it's what we need to do.
And the interesting thing is, as much as the flow of the game, we've given the inside 50 stats and a number of the other numbers, it's only 21 points. It's only 21 points. And if North can lift here, and they're playing for one of their champions today, Todd Goldstein in his 300th game, it just feels like, as Matty and I were speaking about at halftime, and then Matt just made that point, it almost feels like the Suns are playing like a nervous team, which is 1 and 4. And if that scoreboard gets tighter, well, we could be in for a real story in this second half.
Don't forget their second half fade-outs. It's documented.
Well,
the first 5 games, 40 goals versus 26 over 5 games after half-time.
I think it's the way that they play. They don't play a certain style in the second half, and they get gassed midfielders. That's their problem.
Well, we're not too far away from this second half. Just repeating at Docklands, that recently completed game. St Kilda, a 22-point victory over Carlton. 12-10, 82 to 8 goals, 12-60. So the Saints joining the Crows as winners so far on this Sunday of footy in round 6. Everyone's in readiness. 31 more seconds, Pricey, before we can get play underway.
We've got the promo on.
Got out early. Oh, you got to do the promo.
Everyone's in position. Goldstein's there, standing with his hands on his hips. Witz is pacing a little bit.
With some Darude or something. Put something on. Well, not a big crowd in tonight, but I tell you, they're pretty noisy for the Gold Coast Suns.
They're getting a little bit, I suppose, more knowledgeable. Every week they get more knowledgeable, more angsty, more under pressure.
Yeah, well, they're going to win this one in the second
3,
half.
2, 1.
Let's see how they go anyway.
Let's get this second half underway. It's Gold Coast leading by 21 points. Goldstein and Witts are ready. After all that time, the umpire's now taking about 6 seconds to bounce the ball. And he's bounced it straight to Jared Witts. Oh, man.
Well, I'm glad we waited for that.
Wow. I'm even going to hand it over at the centre bounce. We never do that, Pricey.
I feel sorry for the umpires nowadays as Witts slaps it down into the path of Tom Powell, but he plays for North Melbourne. He dives on it. He's hovering over it. He's going to get pinged for holding it. No. Umpire was very generous as Tuke Miller emerges with the ball. So just forward of the centre circles and in the direction in which North Melbourne are travelling to the left as we're looking at it. Now Davies Uniacke actually kicks it towards half forward. It comes off the hands of McPherson for the Suns. He's tackled as he lets loose the ball. Sean Lemon's in there as well.
Sheasel gone forward. Sorry, Pricey. Sheasel started forward then, so a bit of a change-up.
Ball thrown in the air. Neither ruckman gets a hand. And the umpire says it's because Goldstein was shielded away from it. Gets a free kick for North. Hands it immediately to Sheasel, who kicks it inside 50. It ricochets out the back of the pack. Picked up by Howe of North. He kicks it into attack, and Larkey takes the mark, and it's Comben, the other tall, mulleted forward for North.
There wasn't really much pressure, and the 2 dump kicks weren't really that bad, but of course, fortuitous. He's on the angle. What do you reckon, boys? I reckon he's a chance here.
He's kicked 4 goals so far this season, 4-7 to be precise, when you add his one behind.
No chance.
Slightly right of centre, 40 metres out. Charlie Comben's pushed it right.
Told you.
And kicks his second behind of the day. 20 points is the margin at 7-6-48 to 4-4-28. Quick kick in from the Suns. McPherson takes it in the pocket and chips it to half-back for Weller.
Weller looks inboard, goes back into the pocket. Finds Lemons. Free man in the left back pocket. It's Sam Collins. Always can tell exactly where Sam Collins is playing with the Dan Mattingly haircut. Gives the
Handball off there to Mac Andrew, who's turned it over, but he was dealt with as he kicked the ball, and it's a downfield free kick, so it'll be taken off Bailey Scott, and it'll go back to Lukosius there. That's an 8-metre kick that was paid as a mark 50. To Brandon Ellis, and now they've encroached on the mark, so it's going to be a 50. That's not for the archives, that last 15 seconds of play.
Oh, man. That's a short 50 too. No wonder they can't tell 15-metre kicks.
So Ellis is going to chip it short to Anderson, who's on 50. Anderson roosts it on goal near side for a miss. And it's a behind Gold Coast back to that half-time margin of 21 points. 7-7-49 to North Melbourne's 4-4-28. Aaron Hall, well, there's 2 footballs on the field, and he's preparing to bring one back into play as the other's removed. Welcome to Carrara, if you are just joining us. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jason Ackermanis, Matt Primus and Jess Stewart, your company for the last portion of Sunday footy in this round 6. It's Gold Coast and North Melbourne. Hardly been the greatest of spectacles. Early third term, Suns leading it by 20 points.
Will Powell, 80 metres from goal, inside 50, Casbolt gets up in front of Griffin Logue and presents with that big body of his. He's clunked it 30 out, 45-degree angle to the left.
Those have just joined us, Matt and Jace. Quick précis of what we've seen in the first half.
Well, it was a snooze fest in the first quarter, and then they got the games going both ends, and then they actually looked right, and then they've come out this and they've tried to do a similar thing in the third, but now, of course, we're starting to see it open up. It will open up, and Levi's going to kick a goal.
I love the positive start, Acker. It has been a snooze fest.
Casbolt from 30. He starts at left, and it goes even further so.
Oh, kill him, Levi.
7-8-50, plays 4-4-28. It's a 22-point margin. That's a game high.
Matt Primus, anything to add to Jason's
nothing
thoughts?
to add to that. No, we'll roll with that.
So, welcome to the snooze fest on the Gold Coast. But, of course, everyone's celebrating the wonderful career of Todd Goldstein, playing in his 300th for North. If you want to get in touch, 0437 774 774 is the number. Aaron Hall receives the kick in at right half back for North, kicks it to a contest on the wing. Off hands, roved by Scott of the Kangas, trying to weave a path with foot speed and does so. Has a bounce, is run down by Powell, but gets a kick to half forward, and Stevenson presents and marks. Jaden Stevenson's kicked a couple of goals. Ben King's been a story. He kicked 2 in the first and 2 in the second for 4 goals in the game, the Big Suns forward. Short chip from Stevenson, tried to kick it back to Scott. Didn't find the target, and the players pile in at the foot of that. And we'll see a ball up 50 metres from the goal that North are attacking. It's a little breezy, but very good conditions for football. No natural light left now on this twilight affair. From the ball up, Phillips tries to crash his way through for North Melbourne, but under the tackle of Miller, and Zuha's there trying as well, but it's locked up underneath him, and another ball up.
Umpire throws it up quickly. Off hands, it lands into the arms of Rowell. Straight up and down, Nick Holman leads into the chase for the ball. He's dealt with illegally, but the ball spills. Umpire says nothing. Now it goes back to Rowell. Handball to Tuke Miller. Off a step. It bounces just inside the boundary line. It's going to be pinged for deliberate. It was just a rush kick, really, but I think we are heading directly to last touch being a free kick within the next 5 years of the AFL.
Not a bad idea.
Zeeble in front of the interchange gates, though, for North Melbourne. He plays on. Pinches an extra 10 metres as well. Long, effective kick into the pocket. Wits spoiled by Goldstein at ground level. Davies Uniacke couldn't pick it up, and the ball spills over the boundary line next to the behind post. We'll get a throw in.
If you're a North fan, how could Jaden Stevenson not hit a 15-metre pass? Clarko can do all he likes, but if you can't hit little passes like that, forget it.
Jason Ackermanis with you on Grandstand AFL. Boundary throw in. Deep in attack for North. Witts gets the tap down for the Suns. Comben comes through, well tackled by Lemons and holding the ball. Lemons wins the free kick. Comben would have been done for dissent early last year with his gesticulation to the ump after that. As McPherson receives it in the right back pocket, kicks it to the wing, and Collins flies, marks. He's got a runner. It's Weller. Receives the hand pass, plays on with the hand pass to Holman. Got tackled. Beautifully read by McDonald, who wrapped him up. No prior, says the ump. A ball and all out and in the Rang River side. And a ball up.
2 tough boys there connecting.
Oh, and they're going to miss that. But that handball receives what we want.
Yeah,
got it.
And they continued connecting after that as well as the umpire threw it up. Jared Witt slapped it down. Now Rowell roves. Just pressured off it there. Well done. The ball spills out still for the Suns. Into McPherson, handball into the corridor. Ainsworth tackles, he got a handball away. Will Powell for the Suns, gets it, wheels around onto the right foot, kicks it towards right half forward. That's a beautifully weighted kick. Finds Nick Holman, 45 out, 45-degree angle to the right.
Possibly the worst hairdo out there at the moment, Nick Holman. He looks like he's got the bleach on the bottom side there, the mullet.
Mate, for a bloke who had 3-stage coloured hair, at least this is two-tone.
Mate, that is trend-setting. That's not. The guys just get out of jail look like that. Fair dinkum.
Nick Holman. Well, he did play 9 games for Carlton, according to you. From 45, Nick Holman kicks it. It goes left and off hands, one behind. So the Suns just extending their lead in increments of 1 at the moment, 7-9-51 to 4-4-28. Game high 23-point margin.
It was 19 at quarter time and 21 at half time as Zeeble goes short from the kick into Scott. Takes the grab, still inside defensive 50, gives it back to Zeeble, runs to half back. Zeeble with the clearing kick for North Melbourne. Couple against Davies-Uniacke, and the conspiring duo of Long and Miller punts it away from the talented young North midfielder. So we'll see a boundary throw in with the Kangas unable to get it to beyond halfway with that injection from the kick in. 7-9-51 to 4-4-28, Suns by 23. From the throw-in, which beats Goldstein. Rode by Miller of the Suns. Hand passes to Ellis. High rush kick will come down about 45 from goal. Casbolt underneath. Mackay makes the spoil. Roving is, well, Swallow didn't try to pick it up. He tapped it to Roses. Roses got tackled by Zeeble. Ball comes free. Scott picks up for North. Kicks the Kangas clear. A desperate dump kick out of defensive 50 over the boundary line between half-back and the wing. And a boundary throw-in is going to be the result. Leanne from Cairns texts Sacco. What about those of us who are actually Gold Coast fans and interested in the snooze fest?
No, I did say it's gotten better. You didn't miss that bit.
Yep.
Throw in right in front of the grandstand commentary box. Goldstein, he got it down first. Cunnington got in front. Whistle on play. It was a North free kick, advantage paid. Handball Cunnington to Luke Davies-Uniacke. He kicks it into the pocket. Larkey at the back uses his body well, and he roves it, tackled by Collins, and he lets loose the ball, picked up by McAndrew. That's a great smother off the boot of McAndrew as Collins and Larkey still go at it behind the play.
That was Sheasel. He's not been in the play much today, so he'll be happy with just doing a little 1% of there.
Yeah, 6 possessions for those just joining us on account of the talented youngster, Harry Sheasel. He has started his career so well, but not firing on the coast so far today. Boundary throw in with North in attack. It's tapped back towards the boundary line, and we'll see it thrown in yet again. I mean, Todd Goldstein's one of the stories of the day. David sent this lovely text. Well done, Goldie. My departed mother met him in Puckle Street, Moonee Ponds, with his 2 girls. She said he had time for a chat. A lovely man.
Yeah, he's a lovely man.
Among the stories you like to hear is Goldstein's wrestling with Chol in this boundary throw-in. Ruckman share it. It's back over the boundary line. We'll do it all again. Still on attacking 50 for North.
But not all Ruckman are very nice.
Well, isn't it remarkable?
I reckon they're excellent citizens.
Yeah, when they retire. You should have met the big mattress when he was playing.
Well, he wasn't more angry than he is now. A throw in is taken by Mab Chol out of the ruck. Off a step, he tumbles it towards the wing. Tuke Miller leading the charge. He gathers and takes it over the boundary line in front of us. Jeff Stewart's down there.
I believe a sub has been made for the Suns with Bailey Humphries obviously putting that jersey on now at the moment. I'm just trying to find out who it is that has been subbed off. I'll keep you up to date with that one.
That's it for the Gold Coast as the throw-in happens right in front of us. Both ruckmen miss it. It's taken out the back there by Curtis Taylor for North. Tumbles it towards centre half forward. It's Collins versus Larkey in mid-air. That was tough. And then on ground level, Zerha won it out. His handball cut off by Fiorini. He tumbled it out towards the Nerang River wing. It's all North Melbourne. Howe onto Mackay. He chips it forward, and they've just got another avenue towards goal.
Numbers back to Suns here. He has got much on until they can get equalise.
Phillips receives the pass and now drives the Kangas into attack. Collins got to the drop to spoil it for the Suns. Well roved by Curtis front and centre. Tight to the boundary. A grubbering ball across the face of goal. Comben picks up, hands it to Larkey. Too slick. Went through his fingers. McPherson steals it for the Suns. Hand pass to Ellis. Tumbled kick under pressure. Goes to defensive 50. Logue first to meet it for North. Kicks the Kangas back into attack. Collins against 2. Spoils brilliantly the Suns defender. Down to Ellis. Hand pass to Anderson. Hand pass to Fiorini who breaks a tackle. Dumps a kick to the wing and says, Dave Swallow, get after that. and he does. Gathers, kicks on his left to attacking 50. Ball rolls through the feet of Ainsworth, who kept going, now controls it, picks up his hand pass, Mrs. Holman, but Swallow goes again. Gathers got tackled. Hand passed out the back to Casbolt, who dances brilliantly around the defender and chips on his left to Lukosius. You reckon the Coast Life's not doing Levi a ton of good?
What about the 5 and 6 evers from Swallow?
Yeah, huge, wasn't it? Huge.
Well done. Not the best kick, mind you, but hey, he'll take it from Levi.
And Jack Lukosius hasn't kicked a goal today. Right-footed snap, Parnes from 40 metres out. He's executed it beautifully. Started it outside the right major upright and curled it back. And this is a game-high 29-point lead for Gold Coast at 8-9-57 to 4-4-28, 13 minutes played final. Third term, should I say, if you missed that score from Docklands. Saints 12-10-82 to the Blues 8-12-60. Jess?
So it's Malcolm Roses Jr. that has been subbed, and interestingly, he was subbed before he'd even come off the field, so perhaps a tactical sub been made there.
He was looking dangerous. I don't know about that one. I understand what they're trying to do, but he was looking sharp. I thought he'd be good one-on-one down forward. That's a shame.
Well, they've got... Yeah, okay, they've just... Champion Data had Jared Witts there, and they've just swapped it back over to Roses. Okie dokie. So that's the change made for the Gold Coast Suns. We're back into the middle. Game high 29-point lead here at Carrara for the home team. Goldstein in his 300th, and Chol, who got up very high, but Goldstein still won it down. Davies Uniacke's handball out to Cunnington, back to Bailey Scott. Going backwards, but he shrugs the tackle. Handball to Cunnington. He couldn't shrug that. Let loose the ball. Ainsworth picked it up inside 50. That's a great mark taken by the man who just came onto the field. Here's Humphrey.
Oh, I tell you, he was off balance and got absolutely pummeled, but he held the mark. Oh, man, he looked like he was on a stepladder for a second. They just had, you know, where you're just a bit rusty, Mattress?
Well, he's been sitting on the bench too for a half. And well, Roses only had 3 touches. He had looked dangerous. He only had 3 touches. The young fella's come on here and he's had 1 in the first 30 seconds.
Humphrey, the great Barry Humphrey, passed away last night. Might be an home and he might have a big, long future this bit.
Pick number 6 in last year's draft from Moe. In his 3rd game from 35. Oh, yes. He goes and celebrates only his 2nd AFL goal. But Bailey Humphrey, the sub, within a minute, kicks a goal for the Suns. 9-9-63, plays 4-4-28, and they are now out to 35-point margin.
This would be a heat wave, wouldn't it?
You've led us into it, Acker, with young Bailey Humphrey out there. Wasn't that a hello possums moment?
Just wheeling you in beautifully. I don't know about the hairdo, but, oh, man, that is such a good kick from the young kid. Really looked like he was in trouble there.
No, I think he's got a powerful leg to him, and just overdid it there, North. Too many handballs in the middle of the ground. There's old saying, Acker, if you want your out, get it and kick it forward and give your forwards an opportunity over. Too many handballs and went back the other way and cost them.
Just Stewart on the boundary.
Liam Shields has been subbed for North as well, and Luke Davies-Uniacke came limping from the field as well. So it's all happening down here, as well as Nick Holman appears to have an injury as well.
Okay, so Shields in, Davies-Uniacke out. More from Jess in a moment. Centre bounce, and the Suns are going to end up with the footy on the left boot of Fiorini. Kick to half forward. McDonald to the front of the kick, spoiled it away for North. On the deck, chance for Howe to pick up for North. He does so, hands it off to Zeeble. Kicks turned over though, looking to Turner at half back, couldn't get to the drop, and then McPherson dropped the ball. Turner got back on it, gives a hand pass, and a free kick's going to take place. Phillips was there, the recipient. No, it was Tucker, the recipient of the hand pass. He got taken high, and he chips it to Zeeble near the boundary at left half back.
I don't know if he wanted the ball in Zeeble's hands. He couldn't make that kick. That's an experienced kick you got to make, and he's missed that by 10 metres.
Zeeble went long down the line and got it to the wing. Cunnington was the target. He found him there.
It's a better kick.
Holds it up though. Gets it to half forward. He was looking for Larky. He missed the target, and Chol dropped what he might have taken, but he butted up and ran away with the ball. Now he chips it forward. It goes over the wing, looking for Lukosius. He's got a runner with him. It's a little deft pass, and it's Swallow who takes it on the arc of 50. He looks back inboard. He's got a couple, and he hits his target, and here he is again.
Second shot within, 2 minutes?
He's a lead up forward, obviously. Bailey, Humphrey. The young men, there's some big talk about him. They do like him. The attitude in.
It's a good size. I mean, he's 186 centimetres. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's small for a mattress, but for me, that's a good size.
Well, compared to the rest of us in the box, it's quite huge, Jacka. He's already got 1 goal on the board off his 1 touch, his 2nd touch of the footy from 50. Gee, he's got good purchase on it. It's gone a little left and actually came off hands into the behind post. No, on the full into the behind post, so it'll be out in the full. A free kick to North Melbourne will go to Ben Mackay in the right back pocket.
We'll be playing on with the new rule. That'd be far more exciting.
Jason was.
I'm with you.
I'm with you. Get us into post ricochet play on.
Yeah.
For those just joining us,
Gaelic rules.
Mackay goes across the face of goal. Logue marks in the pocket, kicks to the wing, and Turner does well in a one-on-one against McPherson to get in the front and take a juggling mark. 35 points the lead for Gold Coast. Turner's kicked a half forward. Larkey has it punched away by Collins. Roved by Cunnington of the Kangas. Tries to shrug an entire brigade of Suns tacklers. He got through a couple, Ben Cunnington, but didn't get through Weller. He was all on his lonesome there, Ben Cunnington, and eventually is pinged holding the ball, and Weller takes the free kick for the Suns. He chips it around the boundary line to Lukosius. Just beyond his range, defensive side of the wing. Tongue firmly in cheek. Jess?
So Luke Davies-Uniacke got up after getting his right ankle strapped, tried to have a run through, looked very ginger, and has now gone down to the rooms.
Thank you. Kick to half forward. Off a pack. Still Suns ball. Ainsworth with a hand pass to Anderson. Hands to Casbolt. Hands to Weller. 70 out. Kick inside 50's not great. Ricochets to Logue of North. In tight. Gives to Mackay. Gives to McDonald by hand. And now the kick. There's a dump kick from McDonald to a 2-on-2 in the centre of the ground. Ricochet favours Zahara the Kangas. Hands it to Comden. Runs shotgun. Gets it back. Zahar now with his right boot to a vacant forward line. Andrew gets to the drop. And Big Mac takes the grab for the Suns just forward of fullback.
Yeah, that was an awful kick, Matty Primus.
Too many options. He had to go outside of his forwards. He kicked it back inside, made Mac Andrews be able to get that ball easy.
Lemons for the Gold Coast, got it out to the outer wing. Good contest from Lukosius, brought it to ground. The hands from Weller, got to Levi Casbolt. Nice body work from Joel against Mackay. He takes it, kicks it towards the top of the goal square. Ainsworth. Well, that was really good stuff from Chol and Mackay. He played on and popped it at the top of the square, and Ainsworth has got a chance at kicking a goal for the Suns.
That was not an easy mark. He could see Scott coming at him at 100 miles an hour, but great one-on-one mark from Chol. Deserves a goal.
So Ben Ainsworth from directly in front. You'll get the crowd reaction here at Carrara. He kicks his second. The Suns extend their lead here. 10-9-69, plays 4-4-28. It is now a game-high 41-point lead in favour of the Suns.
It was a nice mark by Ainsworth, but I reckon, Scott, when you're in that situation, Aka, even if you know you're going to mark it, you put a body spoil on, you make him earn it.
Oh, yeah.
And he just went for the ball and didn't actually make him earn it at all. Good mark by Chol up the field there, but he ran pretty hard here, Scott, was watched on the replay, but just make Ainsworth earn. No body contact on him at all, really poor effort in the air.
Well, you know that when we played, Lee Matthews would have that on the highlight reel for the next week before the game, because you took everything, the body, the ball, the whole lot. That is just not what Clarko would want either.
The runner would be coming out and giving you that message, you're not hooking you off.
You see him coming.
You run to the other side of the wing.
Magic Choco. He would have given you a big spray. Oh, man. Good goal.
41 points the lead. Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus, your experts, as Goldstein gets the tap down to extend his lead at the all-time tap down list. He got it down to Powell. Kicked a half forward for North. Underneath Stevenson Roves. His kick doesn't create much. Zahar goes in, can't pick up. Stevenson has another go. Does pick up, but McPherson tackles him. We'll have a ball up, 45 from North's goal. 19 points the lead at quarter time, 21 at half time for the Suns, and they've now kicked the last 4 goals in the game, Gold Coast, to lead by 21. Now Took Miller's down, getting a left leg, attended to. Jess Stewart on the boundary's got further news on the benches, though.
Yeah, so horrible luck for the Kangas. They had made... This is not looking good for Took Miller at the moment, but horrible luck for the Kangas. They'd made a tactical sub. I can confirm it was Will Phillips had been tactically subbed out of the game. And then moments later, Luke Davies-Uniacke had then come off the ground with this ankle injury, and he has not emerged yet up the rooms. And I'm speaking to you at the moment as the co-captain in Tuke Miller is being kind of carried in a way, I guess you could say, well, not carried, but assisted from the ground by a doctor and a physio, and he does not look to be in a good way at all when it comes to, he looks to be in a lot of pain at the moment, and he cannot even put any weight on his left knee.
The left leg is a passenger in his body at the moment.
I'm looking at his body language right now, and he's in a lot of pain. He's right in front of me. He is in a lot of pain right now.
And the umps have restarted play as he just goes over the boundary line. So, yeah, keep us close, Jess. Kangas have got it. McDonald from the centre of the ground kicks deep inside 50 for North Melbourne. McPherson underneath the pack tries to row for the Suns. Did enough to shut it out towards half-back. Long provides a shepherd for Weller, who's pushed off the ball by Scott. Scott can't pick up. Ball's close to the paint of the boundary. Scott goes again. McPherson tackles him. Good intent to try and win the footy out there. Weller eventually does for the Suns. From half-back, slaps it on his boot to the wing. Bounces into the advantage of Lukosius. Hand pass for the Suns to Holman. Hand pass to the middle of the ground. It missed Anderson. Pressure replied by the tackle of Howe to lock it up. Now, it was going to come out for a moment, but Zahar's there. Fiorini has a go. His hand passes turned over. McDonald for North, just forward of centre half-back. Kangas have got it. He hands it to Tucker. Tucker's kick to the wing. Set to Tasker, the leading Comben. It doesn't reach him. There's two again him. He taps it forward, but Holman gets it for the Suns through Powell and Humphrey.
Humphrey with his hands now gets it back to Ballard. Under pressure. He hooks it around the body towards Chol. Good work from Aidan Corr from North to get the body on him. Ball spills to McDonald. He goes laterally to Zeeble now. Back inside defensive 50 to former son Aaron Hall. He's got a runner out at left half back. It's Scott. He chips it forward, but then has he chipped it out in the full? Oh, he has. That's an awful skill error. They were out for all money, North Melbourne. So it's going to be a turnover on the outer wing. Ben Long. He comes laterally to the wing to find Noah Anderson. They've gone a set up there. That was awful from North.
That is.
Considering what they had in front of them.
No pressure.
So chip forward from the Gold Coast that goes towards Jared Witts. He's 60 metres out from goal. He's just going to set up and say, I'm going to have a shot at goal. I don't believe you, Jared.
Not sure kick that far.
Not sure the umpire does either. He handballs it off. That's what I was expecting. De Weller lowers the eyes and hits Ainsworth 45 metres out, but a very tight angle. His right leg is only a metre or so away from the boundary line.
They look like witches hats there, the North Melbourne defence. That's too easy.
It was very static, let's put it that way.
Well, Jared's looking around like he's going to handball it. There's a bloke standing next to him, and they just let him go, and then he gets an easy kick into Ainsworth.
So Ainsworth, he's got two at the moment. From 45, it's a sharp angle. He's made the goal umpire work too much. It's one behind. 10-10-7, he plays 4-4-28. We're up to 42-point margin now in favour of the Suns, and we played 25 minutes of the third quarter. Just Stewart's on the boundary.
So Tuke Miller went straight down to the rooms in a lot of pain, and as that's happened, Will Powell's also gone down to the rooms with what appears to be a shoulder injury.
Oh dear. That was all Cam Zerha. He pinged out of the centre bounce, hit Will Powell, then dived in the next one. I think he was involved in the Tuke one, so he's created a bit of carnage there. Hopefully nothing too bad.
What do you reckon it was, left knee?
We're getting another replay, which seems more important than the footy at the moment. It must.
Oh, that's very innocuous, doesn't it?
Yeah, that might be ACL.
Anyway, the kicking went to the wing and out of play, and boundary throw in stoppage. The thing that usually we see with the ACL, they can actually put weight on it and walk. Tuke couldn't put any weight on his leg, so maybe that's the one. Hashtag not a doctor, but anyway, from the stoppage, Cunnington hand pass out the back to Hall. Kangas at left half back, high kick to the centre of the ground. Stevenson makes the contest to win the crumb for the Kangas. Hand pass out the back, taken by Zahar. He runs to centre half forward, 55 out, Blazers long, but Blazers right. And it narrows Gold Coast's lead by just the one behind. 41 that if at 10-10-70 to 4-5-29.
Sorry, Q. He's trying really hard out there. So he's throwing himself around the contest. He's running hard when the North got the ball. He's trying to give him plenty of options. Really playing it, but he's on a lone soldier at the moment, all by himself out there through the middle.
Looks like Larky. Is that Larky coming off there?
We've got another one. Jess is earning money down there. Back to you, Pricey.
So Weller had the ball on the outer side for the Suns. Got it to Mab Chol, who worked his way down the ground. He goes laterally across half back to find Rowell. Rowell now back out to outer wing, so they're tacking sailing like across the ground from corridor to outer, and it's in the hands of Jared Witts. He goes back Inside to Noah Anderson. Just holding the ball up.
Out of nowhere, the third quarter has just been carnage. Injuries galore.
The big lead came from Lockie Weller. And he was hit on the chest there. Just on centre wing, Narang River side. He chips it forward, goes down the line. That's with Lukosius. He's just on centre wing. Now he signals to go long. Long inside 50. Ben Mackay couldn't quite double grab it. Ben King roves. Handball to Witts. Tackled by Core. Got rid of it. Now Ainsworth chipped it out to the wing. Humphrey outside of the boot. He's had a ping from a miracle area. Kicked it out of bounds on the full.
Oh, the run will be going out for that one.
Jess Stewart on the boundary.
So Luke Davies-Uniacke came up from the bench, so he'll obviously just probably wait till three-quarter time. But Nick Larkey's getting attention on his left ankle. So, as you mentioned, complete carnage in this third quarter for both sides.
As North inbound from the back pocket, long kick to half-back off hands. Kangas with the rove. The hand pass from Sheasel goes to Powell. Powell's kick smothered by Ballard and over the boundary line for another throw-in. So Miller with a left leg injury. Powell off with a shoulder. Davies-Uniacke. Jess, is the LDU able to come back?
He did come up to the top of the race and do some run-throughs, but he sat back down, so I'm assuming he didn't look like he was out of the game. There's no strapping or boots off or anything like that at the moment, so I was just assuming that's a case of perhaps they're going to wait till three-quarter time before they try and get him back out there.
Yeah, but that was after already they made the tactical move.
Oh, man.
With Phillips out and Shields in. Another stoppage on the wing. And there's Shields trying to control the footy, but he can't back over the boundary line. Score check here at Carrara, plenty happening. Outside of the contest, which seems to be going Gold Coast's way at 10-10-70 to 4-5-29, 28.5 third term. It's the Suns by 41 points on Grandstand AFL.
The throw in, it's Goldstein who was given the free kick against Jared Witts. He shepherded him out. Why not? It's your 300th. Good battle between these two. Goldstein, it's a long left footer, goes above the wing. Good fist away from Ballard. Front and square was Rowell, who just managed to get a foot to the ball as he's tackled. It dribbles over the boundary line in front of Ben Long for another throw in front of the grandstand commentary box.
That's the thing about this deck, it's so quick. You're gonna, if you're not used to it, anything can happen. It's such a faster ball pace around the ground for North Melbourne.
Three-quarter time imminent. Boundary throw in, true centre wing. Witts to the front, clean possession. Gets a hand pass, it's stolen by Cunnington of North. Hand pass out the back to Taylor. Taylor kicks around his body, looking for Zahar. Spoiled away by Long. Goldstein roves for North, hands it to Zahar. Hand pass on to Powell, and Cunnington's kick inside 50 comes as the siren ends action for the third term. A third term where the Kangas went goalless, added only 2 points to their half-time score, while the Suns kicked 3 goals for. 19 points the diff at quarter time, 21 the diff at half-time, and now at the final change, 41 points is the lead for Gold Coast at 10-10-70 to 4-5-29. No goals from Ben King in that quarter. He kicked 2 in the first and 2 in the second. He has 4 for the game. Then Ainsworth has 2. Singles to Chol, Lukosius, Humphrey and Witts. While for North Melbourne, 2 goals to Jaden Stevenson. He kicked 1 in the first and 1 in the second. Goals to Nick Larkey and also Curtis Taylor. But among the headlines at three-quarter time, arguably the Suns' best player, well, they're all Australian of last year, Touk Miller and co-captain, 2-time reigning best and fairest, off the ground with a serious left leg injury. And we'll get more news as that comes to hand. Earlier today, a bit of a controversial finish in Launceston, but the Crows got the better of the Hawks by 3 points, 11-13-79 to Hawthorn's 11-10-76. And the Saints too good for the Blues under the roof at Docklands. 22 points the margin there as St Kilda won, 12 goals, 10-82 to Carlton's 8-12-60. In the National Rugby League today, the Dolphins and Manly Warringah the winners. The Dolphins came from 26-0 down against the Titans to beat them 28-26. And Manly Warringah too good for the West's Tigers, 22 points to 16. Sunday footy on Grandstand AFL. More from Carrara in just a moment.
We are one, but we are many.
ABC Radio. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
But Swallow goes again. Gather's got tackled. Hand passed out the back to Casbolt,
On the
who
left.
dances brilliantly around the defender and chips on his left to Lukosius. Jack Lukosius hasn't kicked a goal today. Right-footed snap, Parnes from 40 metres out. He's executed it beautifully. Started it outside the right major upright and curled it back.
Handball to Cunnington. He couldn't shrug that. Let loose the ball. Ainsworth picked it up inside 50. That's a great mark taken by the man who just came onto the field. Here's Humphrey in his third game from 35. Oh, yes. He goes and celebrates only his second AFL goal. So Ben Ainsworth from directly in front. You'll get the crowd reaction here at Carrara. He kicks his second. The Suns extend their lead here.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
It's the Suns by 41 points at three-quarter time. 19-21, 19 points the lead at quarter time, 21 at half time, and 41 points the lead at three-quarter time. Gold Coast 10-70, leading North Melbourne's 4-5-29. 4 goals to Ben King, but concern over Tuke Miller. If you've got a thought, we'd love to hear from you on 0437 774 774. I had a question from Kylie from Daysdale during that quarter. Hi guys, another great call tonight. Is the ABC covering Richmond versus Melbourne tomorrow night on radio? Thank you. Indeed we are. And of course around the nation on the ABC Listen app, and around the world you just need to look for the blue and red AFL button on the ABC Listen app. So we'll be there for Anzac Eve between the Tigers and the D's, and of course Anzac Day with Collingwood and Essendon. But we've got a quarter of footy to get through here. Matt Primus and Jason Ackermanis. Story of the footy before we get to Jess with the story of the injuries.
Well, it was a snooze fest the first quarter, and then they were way better the second quarter, very entertaining. North tried to take the game on. Gold Coast tried to make them pay. It was quite entertaining. The third quarter was a bit of an arm wrestle. The Gold Coast got on top, and then we had injuries. Oh my goodness, I've never seen. What's that? 4 blokes went down within 15 minutes. Matty Primus, that is unusual.
Yeah, it was a bit of carnage, as we called it. But you're right, Acker. It was an arm wrestle through the middle of the ground. Suns only went inside 50 11 times, but they had 7 shots on goals, where North went in 16 for the quarter and kicked 2 points. So defensively, the Suns are really good, and then there was no pressure between the arcs there, and the Suns scored at will. Just watching the coaches then, they spent an eternity over the matchup, not the matchup boards, but how their team's going to look. So interesting to see, who's going to replace Tuke Miller. Who else goes inside, opportunities to other guys in this last quarter, but they spent a hell of a lot of time before they got to their players.
I would say Tuke Miller is going to be out for some time, which is a bad thing for Tuke. He's a star and they'll miss him, but this is where it might force you to think a little bit more lateral and put some other blokes in there.
He's gone to Dave Swallow.
Yeah, so we're not 100% sure of the injury to Tuke Miller, but his left leg was the issue. He had a trainer under each armpit as he used his right leg to limp off the field. Jess Stewart, and on any further news before the final term?
No update from the Suns as yet on Tuke Miller's injury. Will Powell also hasn't emerged from the Suns' rooms after injuring what looked like his shoulder, but in good news for the Kangas, they both have Luke Davies-Uniacke and Nick Larkley out on the field in this fourth quarter.
Yeah,
which has an aborted start with a poor bounce in the middle.
He's looking a bit proppy, Nick. That's not much fun. Be good for Collins.
So we're back into the middle. Secondary thrown up there. Witt's got it down. Was taken by Rowell. He was dealt with. He got the ball out to Anderson though. Anderson now to Swallow immediately into the action. Kicks to full forward. Humphrey versus Logue. The two number 19s. Logue wins out at ground level. He loses it though. Humphrey back to Lukosius. Lukosius under pressure back to Humphrey by hand. He's tackled off the ball. It spills back to the arc. Rowell now gives it to McPherson. He goes across half forward to Anderson. 55 out. He sees a target and he hits Holman. 40 out. in front of his opposing number 7, Zeeble, but he's on a 45-degree angle to the right, Nick Holman.
He's a good... Well, can he make amends for that last shot he had, which, of course, was on the near side? But that there, Swallow going into the middle. Swallow, how old Swallow? He's in his early 30s. I mean, there's got to be someone else. I know he's more like for like, but I'd like to see more players than him in there.
Very early 30s. He's 30. Nick Holman.
There you go.
From 40. The left foot is true. Kicks the Suns' 11th goal, 11-10-76, plays 4-5-29. Game high 47 points now. The Suns have stretched North Melbourne.
Well, Nick Holman's had an interesting day, Matty Primus, because he was on Sheasel and he's taken him completely out of the game, so much so he hasn't even been able to get back into the game.
He had to go the other end of the ground to get away from him.
To get away from him.
And then 7 touches for Sheasel.
Yeah, and that's just not like him. He's just...
he struggled just going forward in that third quarter, only finding 1 touch, and who knows how much half forward he's played. But interesting too with Zeeble. Hard work for Zeeble playing down back, Acker, but every time whoever gets his matchup, they just take him deep. Knowing that his leg speed, he's going to give up on that lead up, and he was able to give up on that one on Holman then.
Absolutely, and Holman, interesting night so far. So he's done a roll, now he's down forward, he's kicked a goal.
And that's now 5 unanswered goals for Gold Coast. 47 points the lead at 11-10-76 to 4-5-29. Centre bounce, Rowell out the back for the Suns. Tackled by Goldstein. He keeps battling, the big fella, doesn't he?
He's been good today.
He's forced another neutral. Game 300 for Todd Goldstein. He'll get his moment at the end of the game in what looks like going to be a beaten cause. He got that tap down straight to Anderson. He's tackled. No release. Shields makes the tackle on him. Still in the middle. Another ball up. Sheasel's underneath that to get a clearance. Whacks it on his boot, kicks it forward for North. Off the pack, Andrew, though, does the roving for Gold Coast. Kicks it to right half back out in front of Ellis, who got bumped over by Taylor. That was a fair bump. That's how you bump. Both players went down, shoulder to shoulder, ball over the boundary line, chuck it in.
Well done by Curtis Taylor there. That's a good contest.
And he said to Ellis, what did you think about that? What he said, good work. He said, no, it wasn't bad, was it?
Well, I think they both just admired each other's shoulders there. The throw in. Goldstein against Witts. Goldstein does well, grabs it out. Handball to LDU. Now over to Taylor. Handball back to Hall. He measures a pass. 70 from goal and hits Liam Shields, the former Hawk, to the goal square. Larky's got the sit. Punched away from him, front and square was Ben Long. Handball was awkward for Mac Andrew. He's dived on the ball, he's dived on, going to be holding the ball. You watch.
Yeah.
No, yes, the umpire spreads the wings.
Took his time, Pricey.
He was lurking. He was set himself.
Made you doubt yourself there, Mark.
Oh, good gravy.
You're looking at the wrong umpire. It was that number 42 was going to call it.
Yeah, mate, look at either of them. They're both shaping the call anyway. They did call it. It was holding the ball. He just laid on it.
This would be if he kicks this, their first goal since...
What, second quarter?
Since the 21-minute mark of the second quarter, to be precise.
Well, Darcy Tucker's the man who's taking the free kick, the former Freo player. He's only kicked 1 goal in North Melbourne colours. Pops in and goal umpire doesn't move.
Make it 2.
So North Melbourne get their first goal of the second half. 11-10-76 the Suns. North 5-5-35, back to a 41-point margin. We've played 4.5 minutes of the final term Grandstand AFL.
Well, it was ugly, but again, I like Matty Primus. I tell you about Goldstein might be in his 300 game, but how good was he around that clearance and he's just be able to get the ball and deliver a handball, and that's the quality of the guy.
Outstanding, Mo. I think second highest contested possession winner on the ground behind Cunnington, so he's had a terrific game in the clinches.
And he's been everywhere.
Yeah, 11 contested possessions of his 12 touches.
Wow.
Matt, so
that was a 6.
And the most hit-outs to advantage on the ground with 13 to Jared Witts' 6.
Still going strong.
41 points the difference here. Gold Coast in front. Goldstein and Witts as the ball's thrown up in the middle. Goldstein with the tap down, but Rowell the rove. He's tackled immediately by Davies Uniacke and it spills free. Goldstein had it, got tackled, got a hand pass away, but Witts steals it. Here's the kick. Suns from the bullseye to half forward, but Zeeble gets to the drop and nudges Lukosius away from the footy. And Zeeble takes the mark for North Melbourne. True centre half back, spearing ball to the ex-Sun Hall, who marks defensive side of the centre circles, chips it to Shields, just forward of the centre circle. Shields marks, now kicks inside 50, a helicopter punt, which was not hit on boot as intended. Collins runs away from his opponent to gather for the Suns in the back pocket. Kicks it for half back and Witts takes the mark with 2 against him in the pack. Plays on with a kick to the wing. Marked by Lukosius. Plays on with the run and got the hand pass away to Ainsworth. Ainsworth can't handle it over the boundary line, not far away from Jess Stewart, who's been the busiest person at the ground the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, Tuke Miller's just emerged from the change rooms and he is on crutches with a left knee brace on.
Yeah, that's going to be a difficult one for the Gold Coast to evaluate. Anyway, throw in. Wits, off hands, standing start to Dave Swallow, kicks it to the arc of 50. Kings spoiled there by Mackay. Boy, Humphrey gathered, pivoted, and then spotted a teammate. That was a beautifully weighted kick to find Brandon Ellis, 40 metres out, more or less directly in front. The kid's got some moves.
He's not a left footer, is he?
No.
Because he kicked that with his left foot.
He did, yep.
Yeah,
Jason Ackermanis, over to you, the greatest double-sided footballer of modern times.
Of all time, yeah. What are you laughing at, of all time? Name one better. But that was awesome, wasn't it? As we see Ellis going to come and kick the goal.
So Brandon Ellis, before we get to Acker's brilliance, into Brandon Ellis from 40 metres, and former Tiger Premiership player sprays it and kicks a point. So 77 plays 35, 42 points the margin. But Acker, not enough players have that ability to kick equally as good with the left as they do with the right. That was brilliant from the kid.
No, it wasn't just that. It was his ability to stop on a dime, turn when there was nothing, and then get out and then have a kick to a target, 50 metres, but to a target. And Ellis, just brilliant. And that's what we want to see, players who can kick both feet.
Free kick against Long for a push in the chest or up high, the umpire said.
It's all the way down defensive side of the wing when Aaron Hall was kicking in. That's an 80-metre advantage.
Wow.
So, the King... That was strange. Taylor took the kicked it to half forward, but Chol takes the mark for the Suns. I was trying to work out what the free kick was for, but you said it was for manhandling off the ball 80 metres away, Matt.
Yep.
You've got an eagle eye.
Well, it's in our
Suns have got to be in their defence and turn it over. McPherson from fullback went for a chip, picked up by Stevenson, whose kick hits the post.
Hey, Aki, you talk about
that was
rule.
messy. I'll just give the score 11-11-77 to 5-6-36.
When you talk about that rule off the post, the pre-season comp, early 2000s they trialled that rule, didn't they?
It was great. And it gets rid of all this video review rubbish.
Well, the kick in, it's almost turned it over again. Ben Long under pressure there from Stevenson. It's trapped underneath him. Umpire circling, holding the ball.
Yeah.
There it goes. You just got to wait until they do that little hip movement. It's like a precursor. It's a hip movement, and then it's a...
Is that the holding the ball trigger movement?
I think it is. It's just prior to the arms akimbo movement.
I reckon they love that particular movement the most, umpires.
Well, it's so theatrical, isn't it?
It isn't the big ball.
It's just like a flowing movement of the arms. It's a flurry. It's a sachet.
Second shot for holding the ball.
Jaden Stevenson, though, has the ball. He's been a bit of a shining light today. He's kicked 2 goals, 1. As he squeezed that one in, there's going to be a review.
Oh, come on, umpire. Did you not see that hit the post or not?
Well, it's either scraped the post or not. We're going to have a chat between the goal umpire and the central umpire. It looks like...
Snicker vision.
North look confident.
Well,
yeah, they're not worried.
The Suns have gathered at the top of the square. We're having a look at the...
This is my whole point. You see, Pricey, that is a goal. With the new rules where it's just play on, or it's just it hits the post, goes through like a soccer goal.
So it's irrelevant if it hits the post. If it goes through, it's a goal.
Oh, hold on. There's a little
wave.
Swiggle on the wave line.
It's a baby wave.
But so my point.
The goal umpire's call was a goal. He was in perfect position.
I'd be able to hear with that crowd behind him.
Or what's wrong with his eyes? Did the crowd get in his way?
Well, we have a decision. It's going to be a behind anyway. So that puts us all out of our misery. 11.
So 5-7-37.
Plays 11-11-77.
Correct.
40 points the margin.
And that's 2-2 on the day for Jaden Stevenson.
This has been an unusual day, kid.
Yeah, it's sort of been a sort of stop-start type of game early on, but the Suns getting on top of things. Lemons receives the kick in and marks in the back pocket. Now kicks a high ball. Chol flies. Mackay spoils. Down to ground level. Humphrey charges through. He's an energetic player. Wins the crumb for the Suns. Hands it to Anderson. Anderson kicks it out on the full. Jess on the boundary.
Will Powell's back up on the bench, but I'm not sure if he's going to go back on or not. I'll keep you posted if he does.
He's on his feet right next to Griffin Logue as he takes this kick for North, kicks it towards the arc, off the hands of Goldstein, front and square Cunnington, handball to Scott.
He has to retreat as Rao chases him, but he gets it inside 50. Big fly from Comben, spoiled by Ballard at ground level. Stevenson's handball cut off by Brandon Ellis. His handball to Ben Long for the Suns. The outside of the right boot was sublime. He hit Ben Ainsworth just short of centre wing, out of side. He's got a runner even wider and he gives it to Lukosius. Nice little 20-metre pass that'll lead up in Dave Swallow. So they're just moving it nicely. Chipped forward and Brandon Ellis sharing the ball again.
So Ellis marks forward of the wing, out on the Narang River side for the Suns. 40 points the lead to Gold Coast. He kicks it wide with an entry looking for the lead of King. Couldn't mark off the ricochet. Scott dispossessed for the Kangas. Won by Rowell of the Suns. Hand pass to Ainsworth. Kicks it to full forward. And there's a free kick going to Gold Coast. And it's going to be Humphrey.
Oh, wow.
Bailey Humphrey, who was held on to before that ball arrived. He's a solid proposition, isn't he?
Yeah. Les Patterson, the hairdo there.
We're going with the B. Humphreys a bit more.
B. Humphrey, darlings. He has really come on and had an impact. You love that.
Well, as a sub, you want... he emerged full of energy, which makes sense, doesn't it? He's 20 metres out, left forward pocket, 2 steps infield, right foot snap punt, second goal for Bailey Humphrey. And the Suns now out by 46. That's 12-11-83 to 5-7-37.
He's got some zip. 2 goals now for the rookie, and I tell you, he's looking lively. He'll be getting a game next week.
Our listeners are into you, by the way, Akka.
I saw that.
Darren Jarman was pretty good either side.
Darren Jarman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can I just...
Hold on. John Barnes?
No chance.
Nathan Buckley?
Buck's left foot rubbish. And Darren Jarman is the only bloke that could kick goals left and right foot anywhere near me. He was a freak. I love it.
I'm just going to say the difference between Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan was...
The original?
I was about to say.
One's the original.
One didn't declare that he was the best.
No, he didn't.
Let's put it that way.
Didn't need to.
Into the middle. You're a legend, Acker. It comes off hands and goes to Kaz Bolt, and he tumbles at the big man to centre half forward. It's rowed by Ainsworth. Little chip pass into the path of Weller. Weller, within a microsecond, got it to his boot, but it was too quick. Out of bounds on the full. It's going to be a free kick to Griffin Logue in the left back pocket. He chips it forward to find Luke McDonald.
Also, a message here from Kim in Northampton, WA. One very frustrated Kangas fan. I would have thought they'd put in a better effort for Toddy's 300.
Oh, you never play for that. Play for a player, but they've just got to be better all round.
Yeah, they certainly sort of declared their hand earlier. That's a long kick from Logue, by the way, bounces before going out of play. Matt Primus, we saw it, tactically, they weren't keen to open it up early at all, the Kangas, and haven't seen it since.
No, I haven't seen it at all, and you wish they had done that from very early on, especially where we know North are rebuilding and where they're going through with Clarko. But anyhow, he's coached a lot longer than all of us, Clarko.
Cunnington with the clearance from the thrown on the wing, quick kick inside 50, intended for Stevenson, met by Lemons of Gold Coast. He kicks beyond defensive 50 with the clearing ball. On the deck, Casbolt hand passes to Andrew, too close to the boundary line, and he steps out of play. Ump lets that happen without sanction. Boundary throw in.
Just get back to what Jordan would say? He wouldn't say I was the best left and right. He'd say, tell me who's in the best team.
Bingo.
Tell me the best team.
Bingo, that's exactly what he said.
I'm talking about the skill, not the team. I'd say I'm the best player.
Good no. Don't retract, Acker. You're on a roll. Comes off hands. And North Melbourne with it. Davies Uniacke has been quite good. Zerho got a bit of his own back from Swallow, and that's saying something. Gives it to Darcy Tucker, who was belted by Levi, and therefore it's a downfield free kick, and it's going to land in dangerous hands for North Melbourne. By the looks of things, no. It was going to go to Jaden Stevenson, who was trying to claim it, but instead young Paul Curtis, the end this week, is going to have it.
I told you Levi I'd get 4 or 5 blokes today.
40 metres out. Well, 35, but he's on a very, very tight angle to the left. We'll follow it as his left leg is only a few metres from the boundary line. He'll kick it from 45. It starts very left and doesn't come much further in, just squeaks in for a behind. 83 plays 38. Back to a 45-point margin in favour of the Gold Coast Suns.
And that was after the Crows won by 3 points and the Saints by 22 earlier today. And still a couple of games to footy to come on this extended Anzac round weekend. Short inbound from the Suns. Lemons takes the mark in the right back pocket. Now drives a high ball, looking for Swallow. Casbolt floated in, almost took the mark. He's got it trapped under his legs. Players pile in. Now it spews out. Comben tries to burst through for North, couldn't pick up. Stolen by Ballard of the Suns. Hands through Ellis to Powell, and then the chip is marked by Swallow at right half back for Gold Coast. Kicks down the wing. Holman got nailed by Mackay. Ball goes out of play. Ump says fair ball, and throw it in.
Yeah, it's got a touch of the Cam Green, the Nick Holman mullet as well.
It's pretty bad, but he's making it look all right tonight, let me tell you.
It looks like Rage in 1986. Boundary throw in. Casbolt taps to the front of the pack, but it's stolen by Tucker of North. Ham passes to McDonald. High kick from the wing. Gets the Kangas into attack, but Ballard gets to the drop and takes a good defender's mark. We see him fly a lot, Matty, but that one was just body work on Curtis to outmark him.
Yeah, used his body great. We talked to him before where he didn't use his body against him in a foot race. He used it really well then in the air.
He got the ball back after he gave it to Rowell under pressure and then put it on a plate for Brandon Ellis right in front of us here, 80 metres from his own defensive goal at right half back. He kicks it beyond centre wing on the commentary side off the fists of Witts. Lands into the arms of Howe. He chips it there. Tucker it was in fact into Powell. Powell the run of Cunnington. Good hands. Cunnington to fall forward. Larkey was one out. It was good roving there from Curtis. And then he went with his left foot when he was on his right foot, got pushed off it, and it was a behind Acker. If he had a left foot, it would have been a goal.
Brilliant crumbing.
Great crumb, wasn't it?
You need your opposite side.
83 plays 39.
44 the difference.
He would have. Absolutely. So would have I. But anyway.
We are stretching to the end of this one with the Suns well in control. Long kick in and Chol takes the mark. So after winning their first couple of games in the season, North, this will be 4 losses in a row and 2 pretty handsome defeats at the hands of the Queensland teams the last 2 weeks. So they got over the WA teams, but no good against the Queensland teams of late. As the kick to half forward for the Suns is turned over, McDonald takes the mark for North. Kicks it to Zaha, who's in a bit of space in the middle of the ground. Turns immediately, 2 steps, bang. Deep kick to full forward. Curtis, the target, got a hand. Couldn't take the mark. Now the cavalry arrives. Taylor picks up, gets a hand pass free, and a snap on goal from Turner. He has kicked it behind. Another point for North, 43 the diff at 83 to 40, 18 minutes played final turn.
1 goal 7 after half-time to North Melbourne as the Suns bring it back in. Jared Witts takes the mark, loops a handball over to the run of Anderson. He sees a man in Fiorini in the corridor. The run of Ainsworth receives the handball into the forward pocket, and open was Mab Chol. They just got exposed there and opened up North Melbourne. Chol will line up 35 out, very tight angle to the left.
Yeah, just too easy. Disappointing not hitting the scoreboard. You know, go from a kicking coast to coast. Very rarely do you go from one end of the ground to the other, and that just went through untouched by any North Melbourne player. Wasn't able to lay a hand on any of the Suns' end.
Just change the angle back into the middle, just where the bullseye is. Little handball, and Ainsworth had 2 blokes he could have kicked to, Holman and Chol.
So Chol, this is disposal number 12 for him. He's kicked 1 goal 2 tonight. Kicked the opening goal of the game in the first minute and a half. This one he leans back on it. He pulls it wildly, in fact. It's out of bounds of the full.
I think he kicked the first goal a couple of weeks ago too, didn't he?
It's an awful kick anyway. North Melbourne's going to have the free kick. It's in the right back pocket.
In all seriousness, Matt, he doesn't have much of a future as a key forward if he doesn't improve his kicking, Chol.
It's just a lazy sit back, and everything's got to work perfectly well for that to go through. He's got to follow through on his shot for goal.
Short kick in, and Zeebel's marked it in the opposite pocket. He's right on the goal line next to the behind post. Chips it around the pocket to Core. He marks and kicks to Sheasel, the youngster who started his career so well, but
he's gone searching for that kick. Half forward, he's up in the back.
Just 9 today. He chips it to Stevenson, who marks it left half back.
50 metres.
50.
What was it for?
Into the demilitarised zone.
38th parallel infringement.
There is.
So Stevenson has marched a half 100 upfield and chips it down the throat of the leading Zaha. That was a bit too easy, and the Suns a bit loose. You could see that was coming, and no one got in the corridor. So Zaha thought, I'll just lead out in front and take the grab, and he does, and he'll have a shot from 45.
They just dropped off a little bit here, the Suns, with 7 minutes to go.
Yet to kick a goal today, Cam Zahar. 45 out, slightly left of centre. Strikes it on his right boot, and it's through the middle. Goal up did a bit of work, but that's a rare goal for North. Just their 6th in this contest. And the first of the day for Cam Zahar. 37 points the lead to Gold Coast at 12-11, 83 to 6-10, 46. And we have 21 minutes expired in this final term.
6 minutes 40 to go. You would just wonder, they have been pressing North, they've been inaccurate, but they're looking a little bit better. I think Clarko, while he won't be happy with the first half and possibly a little bit of the third, it's not the end of the world. They're starting to play a bit better brand of footy, getting some turnovers, getting it inside, hitting the targets and trying to exploit what is a lacklustre Suns defence at the moment.
Well, they've had the last 5 shots, North Melbourne. So the Suns, their last score was a goal. That was when Humphrey kicked it in the 12-minute mark. So 9 to 10 minutes has elapsed.
Giving him a warning here, a bit late there, the big fella.
A little bit late in. The promo's already finished for the TV network, so hurry up and get to the centre. And we're back in the middle. Goldstein knocks it down. Into the path of Rowell yet again. He's tackled by the veteran in Shields, and the ball's held up. Going to be another ball up. So Witts and Goldstein to go at it again. It's been a monumental battle between these two. Witts gets it down this time. Once again, McPherson gets involved. Curtis Taylor for North Melbourne cuts it off, kicks it towards 50, through the hands of Zahar. You'll get another chance again, leads in the race for it, but well done to Ballard who cut it off, but he's turned it over now. Gets involved again, cuts it off again, does Ballard. He did well. Got the handball over to Noah Anderson. He had a bounce on the arc. Inboard, he handballed it to Fiorini, a short pass to Bailey Humphrey. I love the look of this kid. He is strong, an 18-year-old. I mentioned it before, Matty Primus. They come out of that under-18 competition almost baked and ready for full-time action.
He's got a body built for AFL, hasn't he, straight away?
Yeah, Humphrey with a long kick to the wing, and King floats in, marks, hand passes inboard to Fiorini, runs to 48, caresses on goal, open goal square into the post, play on Acker.
Play on, that would be play on.
No, it still counts for 1.
That would be play
Despite
on.
Jason Ackermanis' rule, it didn't go through, it hit the post and came back into the field of play by a metre or 2.
Way more exciting.
That's a point for 12-12-84 to 6-10-46, 38 the diff.
Meanwhile, Nick Holman almost got done for dissent by his own team for throwing the arms up, saying I was in the forward pocket. What about me?
He was. Aaron
Hall plays on, finds Sheasel in front of Humphrey, the two youngsters. Right on the arc of 50, left half back. Sheasel looks at the wing. It was a 2-on-1. It was Casbolt did well, but so did young Curtis Taylor for North Melbourne, who wore 2 bodies there and the ball spilled. Ground level. It went to Stevenson, through Goldstein, through the 50. Now Curtis gets it on to Taylor, and under pressure he pushes it just slightly wide, one behind. That was a promising bit of play from North Melbourne.
It was awesome. Why would you kick around the corner when you run it straight out the goals? I'll never know.
Drop punts, 84-47, back to a 37-point margin in favour of the Suns.
For a moment I thought we would have got the galloping Goldstein in his 300th. Maybe that could be a bright light to end what's a pretty dull performance from the Kangas here in a milestone day for their big man. Kick-in's turned over from the Suns at half back. Davies Uniac with a hand pass out the back to Taylor for North. Kick inside 50, off hands, roved by Sheasel. Hand passes to Shields, and he kicks a goal for North on the run from 40.
He doesn't miss.
No. So that's 2 in a row for North Melbourne. 31 the diff. The injected sub Liam Shields takes it out to 7-11-53 to the Suns, 12-12-84. Quentin Hull, Michael Price, Jason Ackermanis and Jess Stewart with you. If you have just joined us, outside of the result, the major news of the game, Tuke Miller is now on the bench with a knee brace, well, a brace across his left leg and across his knee. He limped from the ground. The Suns co-captain, and by, wide recognition, their best player in danger of missing an extended period.
It certainly looks that way. And just looking, we've been talking about who will step up and take his role. Braden Fiorini is one who's played majority of this quarter in the midfield, and he's normally one that gets booted out, comes in for a couple of weeks, gets booted out because he doesn't have enough game time. I reckon he's the one that the Suns will play through there.
He's had 18 touches too, as Cunnington gets involved with this clearance. Turns it over after giving it to Hall. Now Fiorini gives the handball to King from 40. Big Ben has 4.
5.
He's got a bag of 5. I missed his 4th one.
Big Ben has 5. Well, there you go. That's beautiful use of the ball from 45 metres from a big man.
Great handball from Fiorini too. The no look back over his shoulder, and then a great finish from the big man.
Well, just as you mentioned, he was the one who tackled Cunnington that caused the turnover. Ended up with the ball, little fumble, and then the quick handball, and ends up with King. Great goal.
Great finish. Yep.
Benny King. I was thinking about twins because he's got a twin brother. He's a right footer, yet the big Harry and the big Harrys are left and right foot.
The Mackays.
The Mackays, sorry. The
So
Mackays.
Ben and Harry?
The big Harry and, of course, his brother.
Ben.
So Harry's a lefty?
The Ben's, yes. One's the left, one's the right.
Benny's right.
We've got brothers, both right. Both right footers, both angry. They're still
Chris
angry.
and Brad.
Chris and Brad.
Yeah, Brad played with his socks up at the back end of his career. No, Chris played with his socks up at the end of his career. I always told those guys, don't do that. It was the only way I could tell them apart when I was calling them.
Oh, yes.
Casbolt gets the clearance in the middle of the ground. Kicks to half forward. Chol got it on his chest, then was taken down. No free kick. Ainsworth waves, chips to the pocket, and here he is again. Your line, Pricey. It's going to resonate across the AFL. Here's Humphrey.
Here he
had to slip it in.
Well,
he's silent.
Left footer here. He'll use his left foot. He's got a left foot. We saw that before with a wonderful pass to Ellis.
He's right on the boundary line. 40 metres out. 3 steps infield. Left foot snap. Punt into the post.
Play on.
Play on as well.
Play on. See?
Bounce into the field of play. That's a point. That's a point. 13-13-91 to 7-11-53. Humphrey has been making an impact since coming on. 38 the difference to the Suns.
There wasn't a North Melbourne player on the line.
No.
There's no one there.
Post.
Unbelievable.
Hall plays on from fullback, looking for Mackay at right halfback and finds him. Nice kick, good mark. He settles down though. There's not a lot of running for him. This fella's tried hard all day, I reckon. Curtis Taylor did the running, accepted the ball under pressure. He's got to play on. He dumps the kick though, and Mac Andrew did well to beat Jaden Stevenson to the ball. So the Suns have it just beyond halfback. Mac Andrew retreats inside defensive 50 to find Lemons. Lemons goes back out to left halfback to find McPherson, who's had a fine game. He's up now to 24 disposals. Goes out wide to the wing to another bloke who's just collected his own share, and at will, Lockie Weller. This is his 25th.
Which is a chip to Anderson, who takes the mark. Going through those top 3 possession winners there. Anderson out to touch 28 in that chain. The 3 most prolific ball winners of the game for the Suns. And get another one to Weller. Anderson's chipped it back to him. Now from 4 to the wing, a long kick into attack, and King got up on the back of his opponent, got a hand, couldn't take the mark. And near the boundary line, it's gone over. No, it hasn't. I thought it was over the boundary line. Now holding the ball against Howe, who'd locked it under him right near the paint, and Chol's going to be the recipient of the free kick. I was trying to work out who the stepladder was. It's Zeeble. Yeah, he's slow and
not enjoying that.
He's sore, isn't he, Matt?
Oh, he is. Played, 15 years of footy. He's had to sit under that and have a young 19-year-old leap into the back.
He had to sit, but Chol's got to pass. He's surely not going to have a shot.
Well, you'd think, Jason, but it looks like he's going for a shot. Man on the mark is right on the boundary, 35 metres from goal in the left forward pocket. Mabior Chol.
Drop punt too.
The red seats in the background. He's hard to spot over there.
The red of the Suns strip blending into the seats. He kicks. He's kicked a goal. Left foot drop punt from the boundary. Mabior Chol, what a finish. His second goal. 14 goals, 13.97. Plays 7-11-53. You two, can you explain what it is about footballers? If that was 30 metres out, dead in front with the game on the line.
Yep.
But game's over on the boundary. Well, that's life, isn't it?
No, that's unbelievable. He would have, but you know what it's like. We kick them in the for training. That's where we kick them from. We don't kick them from out front unless you're practicing. But what about that left footer, left side, deep in the pocket? The worst angle for a left footer.
Worst angle, yeah.
He couldn't kick the last one to save himself. Now look at him. He's so happy with himself. He's into the crowd.
I think he turned to the crowd. He went, "Wow! See what I did then?"
I'm surprised too. Don't worry. So was he.
Oh dear. We've had it all tonight here at Carrara. 44 points the margin. The Suns late in the final term on Grandstand AFL. It's been a good night. Good bounce from the umpire there too. Not a good night for Goldstein in his 300th, but he's had a red-hot go. Zerha wins the clearance for North Melbourne. Long kick at the back of the pack. Great mark taken by the young Paul Curtis.
He's shown something tonight.
He has.
Limited opportunities, and it's not a high possession game, but he's got something.
He's had a red-hot crack as well, and he's played on it. Then you give him a rap.
No, he hasn't.
And he's hit the post. He's played on, hit the post from 5 metres. Turn it right up, as they say. 97 plays 54. 43 points the margin. You give them a rap, that's what they do, Matty.
I'm feeling that pricing now.
Weller with the kick into Ballard, who marks it, despite the late arriving attention from Tucker. Suns are going to break a 2-game losing sort of streak, so to speak. It'll be 4 losses in a row for North. They'll be 2-4. Suns will be 2-4 as well. Kick towards half back, off hands. Ellis Rose for the Suns, hands it back to Weller. Chips it down the line, or Zeeble backing back, couldn't mark. Rove by Ainsworth of the Suns. Hands to Ellis, hands to Fiorini. Through the logo they go on the wing. Hand pass to the Koshes, who lost his footing and walked over the line as a consequence. And the ump said, that's fair enough, throw it in.
He just tripped over a blade of grass that wasn't there, poor Lukosius. That's his 70-metre foot hoof too. You want to keep that one in pristine condition.
Final crowd, 9,672.
Nice throw in, right on centre wing. So Casbolt in front of Goldstein, who double hands it down to Cunnington. The handball back to Tucker. The run of Hall on the wing. It's a long kick towards half forward, tracking back Ballard. Brilliantly done by Comben, who came back with the flight. Tapped it into the path of Curtis. Got involved with Collins, who went back to Remonstrate immediately and stood over Comben. Boy, I tell you what, you wouldn't like to be the bloke underneath, because Collins is one scary guy. Ball's over the boundary.
What do you do that for?
Oh, I don't know. There was obviously something he didn't like, because he went straight back to Remonstrate.
Inside the last minute, 43 points of the lead to the Suns. Ruckman go at it. No telling touch. Ricochets beyond the pack. And Zeeble arrives to pick up for North. Oh, his kick went into the shins of Casbolt. Ricocheted back to a teammate who now I can't see because Zeeble's tackled him.
It's Rao, I think.
Is it Rao?
Man-child.
I think, black shoes. Those pale legs and chunky calf muscles emerge from underneath the tackle of Jack Zeeble. He wrapped him up, Zeeble, that's for sure. Tossed in the air. On attacking 50 for North. Swallow does the roving for the Suns. Hand passes to Fiorini. Kicks it to the wide expanses of the Nerang River wing. Foot races on. Howe first to meet it for North. Can't pick it up first time. Does now, but then gets tackled. Keeps battling away. Turned it over. Picked up by Long of the Suns. From the wing, he'll kick to half forward. Marked by Ainsworth. He's 60 out. He's got a couple of seconds to move it. Kicks into the forward 50. And the siren sounds as it's on its journey to full forward. And the ball is just let roll by everyone. And it stops dead a metre from being behind. No one went near it. End of game. Suns win by 43 points. The Suns led at every change. 19 points was the lead at quarter time, 21 at half time, 41 at three-quarter time, and 43 in the end at 14-13-97 to North 7-12-54. And while it's the second win of the season for the Suns, a fourth straight loss for the Kangas, the joy of the locals probably to be tempered from the news from the rooms with a serious left leg injury for Tuke Miller. But in the aftermath of victory, the Suns fans sing the song at Carrara.
We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky. We are one in the red, gold and blue. We are the mighty Gold Coast Suns. We play to win the flag for you. Fight, fight, fight till we hold on the gun. Run, run, run all the way. Hey. We are the sons of the Gold Coast sky, where the team will never say die.
Ben King kicked 5 goals for the Suns. 2 goals to Mabior Chol, 2 goals to Ben Ainsworth, and 2 goals to the injected sub Bailey Humphrey. A goal for Nick Holman, a goal for Jack Lukosius, and a goal for Jared Witts. There's your 14 majors for the Suns. Only half as many for North Melbourne. 7 goals, of which Stevenson was the only multiple. He kicked 2. And singles to Taylor, Tucker, Shields, Larkey and Zahar. So that's 4 losses on the bounce for North. The Suns with their second win of the season. Gold Coast plays Richmond at Docklands next week, while the Kangas have got the D's at the MCG. Stick around, there's plenty of post-match to come. We'll not only wrap things up here, but go through the news of the day, where Adelaide's defeated Hawthorn by 3 points and Kilda's defeated Carlton by 22 points. And of course, we've still got a couple of games of footy to come in this extended Anzac recognition round. Matthew Primus and Jason Ackermanis, we will pause on your expert thoughts, because it is always a special moment when you see anyone reach a significant milestone, and 300 games in the AFL is significant. Todd Goldstein is now walking through a guard of honour. The Suns players and the Kangas players have formed a channel for him to be carried from the field, and it's Ben Cunnington and Jack Zeeble to do the job, to hoist Goldie on his shoulders.
It's a tough job too. He's a big dude. That would hurt, but he's got sore shoulders too, Jack. But he would have played many seasons, I don't know, 10, 12 years with both those boys.
And he's now down on his feet, Jason, and thanking the Suns for their acknowledgement, thanking the fans as Todd Goldstein leads the Kangaroos down the race after they've succumbed by 43 points.
We used to hate playing on these games, the milestone games, because I reckon we lost every single one of them. It was unbelievable. But we used to, so 300 games is another one. I don't know, you went, how'd you go on all your, 100, 150, 200, 250? How'd you go?
I didn't get that high.
Oh, well, your milestone games.
Your 300th was for the Dogs, okay?
It was, kicked 4 goals, nearly won us the game. It was after the siren. Brad Johnson missed it, I don't know if you remember, to win the game.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
Yeah, right.
A super game against Geelong.
Just a nice bit of sportsmanship I noticed just down there. Luke Davies-Uniacke from North Melbourne just split from his own group, got over there into the Gold Coast group, walked straight up to Took Miller and obviously asked him how he was, and big pat on the shoulder, good bit of sportsmanship from LDU there, like that.
So he's actually being interviewed by Host Television Broadcast, so we should have some more information for you. But the picture is of a co-captain who's got his playing tracksuit on up top. He's kept his footy socks on, and he's bending that left knee at the moment. He's got crutches, but the left leg is in a brace, but it's bent at the moment, which is interesting. So
must be a scan tomorrow. Maybe he doesn't know. He's not sure. Because why would you? If it was in that much pain, which he certainly is, you won't know till tomorrow, would you?
Well, and the thing that's interesting about it, he doesn't look keen at all to extend his leg.
But just look at the replay there. It just looks like you can see he's something there.
He may have even, it may be a contact injury.
I'm thinking it's like a medial lateral, because you don't put braces on.
Yeah, it looks like a medial.
So it's like a twist his knee. If you look at, we're watching the replay, it's just a little, it grabs in the turf and twists a little bit. He grabs the outside.
He reaches for the back part of the knee.
What's that? PCL, ACL?
Oh, that's the PCL
back, and
isn't
lateral
it?
medial on the sides, which you'd have a brace on to stop it going, wobbling a bit. So
I don't think it's not the classic ACL mechanism.
It doesn't look like it, and you don't normally have a brace when you do an ACL.
Yeah, because you can walk. That's the thing. After the excruciating pain, you can use it, but you can't play footy on it.
Yes, that's right. So hopefully that's good news for Took, but we'll find in the next few days.
So how did it happen, gentlemen? Suns 14-13-97, Kangas 7-12-54. We know it wasn't all that exciting to start with, but give us your thoughts across the 4 quarters of footy. Very important win for the Suns, who at least, hold another week's criticism at bay until next start, 2-4.
They did what they should have done. The weakness in North Melbourne is their backline. All year it has been, especially the last month when they've been on this losing run. We spoke about it pre-game, how they can get marked against and scored against the will. Both teams had 50 inside 50s, but the Suns took 20 marks inside 50. So last week was 33 against North's back, 20 for the Suns this week, and there would have been quite a few from Crumbs.
So that's
and they just got scored against that will, 50 each. But they just, every time they win, especially in that second half, they look like they're going to score. Where North are really 50 inside 50s and struggling, as we mentioned in that second half, kicking 2 goals, 7 whatever it was. They're just really struggling offensively, and they're defensively, especially in their back 50, they are struggling to defend any kind of ball.
Well, that's why I thought, that's why they probably went a little bit taller. The best thing about that for the Gold Coast, their midfield was superior. They look really good around the ball, except for Took Miller, of course, injury. their big forwards actually work well together, and their small forwards look lively. I think they found a guy in Barry Humphries. He looks fantastic, doesn't he?
His name is Bailey?
Yeah, Bailey. Yeah, that's
That'll
what I
do.
meant. Bailey, Barry.
Be
I'm sure his nickname's Barry. But anyway, he's going to be a star. So you've got some players playing well. Holman's job on Shizel early was wonderful. Then he gets a goal late. Like they're just little things you're not seeing in the game that is working in the favour for the Gold Coast Suns.
And here's the thing that, while we tap your knowledge, Jace and Matt, we're, 6 weeks in, and the Suns, beat a team that's hardly beaten anyone the last couple of years. But talk about style. Talk about, you have to make an assessment today because you can't use the scoreboard as the only currency when you've got a team that was sort of threatening for finals last year, didn't get there. Now they win easily against the Kangas, who haven't threatened anything for a long time. So delve into your knowledge and analysis.
Yeah, I still don't see and the reasons why they've lost it.
Sorry, we'll just go to the song.
Oh, yeah, the song.
Well, it doesn't seem we can get the full blast of it, but you can hear it in the background. It's playing on the big screen here, and kick to kick is about to take place in the middle of the ground. Sorry, Matt just tried to bring the song to you there, but Jess is in the rooms, and we'll get to her in just a moment.
I still don't see their style of footy at the moment. It's tough, it's tight, it's good at clearances and those sorts of things, but it's not going to be enough to win enough games to make the 8, and that's why they haven't beaten Essendon. Fremantle got wiped by Sydney in round 1, and who else have they lost to?
St Kilda.
St Kilda, and they got beaten comprehensively against St Kilda. So they've got the basis of it, but I haven't seen the growth that you need to get your 12 wins to get yourself into the 8. They did what they had to do against North, and so they should have. They are a better team than them, but they got Richmond next week at Marvel Stadium, and they need to play significantly better than what they did tonight to be able to knock a team off that Richmond is probably on the cusp of being in or just outside the 8 by the end of the year, the way they're going too. So, yeah, there's growth in the way they use the ball, how they're still structured up in their forward 6. I still think you get a feeling that even the coaches aren't quite sure what their best mix is. And down back, they've got some competitors down there, but they don't look self-assured. North didn't ask enough questions of them. So a good midfield that's now going to be asked questions with Took out. Opportunity for guys to step up a little bit. But, yeah, definitely question marks for me. Are they heading towards making the 8? I'm not sure yet.
Well, we talked about the second half fade-outs. I'm still saying the last quarter they might have kicked 4 goals 3, the Suns, but North Melbourne kicked 3 goals 7. Apart from inaccuracy, they would have won the last quarter. So that means the Gold Coast only have definitively won one last quarter out of 6 games, and that was against Geelong.
Yeah, I just think though, I'm just putting it on that Tuke Miller and Rao were doing too much work, and they haven't had that flexibility. However, tonight we've got great news because Fiorini can go in there and play. You can put Holman in there and he can play. You've got options now. I'm really sad for Tuke to be out for however long he's out. But if there's one thing that we learned tonight, the periphery, the forwards, the defence, the wingers, they're all good. They're structurally good. It's that midfield that is, when it's on, it's wonderful. It can go with anyone. And then they get gassed. They've got their second stringers or the guys that have to change in there have got to be better. But they've got players to go in there. And what do you know? Forcefully tonight they do that, and they looked all right, forgetting the last quarter. Because what you're saying to me is that they're not standing up for long enough, that they're not fit enough. I actually think it's more just that midfield grunt that they need. They need to find players.
So North Melbourne got the bounce out of Clarko with a couple of wins to start the season. But since it's been a loss by a tune of 19 points to the Hawks, 23 to the Blues, 75 to Brisbane, and now 43.
Gaps are getting a bit bigger, aren't
today, yeah.
Well, that's 53 marks inside their attacking 50, inside their defensive 50 in the last 2 weeks.
We said how bad it was before the game.
That's not good.
And their defence through the middle is bad as well at times.
So style, what did you see? What are they trying to do that's different?
Well, they went to this, you know how they're zoning back and they're trying to cut off the 45s. But they look better when they went man on man, which automatically pushes into a zone a bit, which is kind of funny. So I'm not sure if I actually learnt that what they're actually trying to do, because it was confusing.
They definitely changed. I've only seen North on the TV, but they changed from what the Suns assistant coaches were talking about, how they played. They were a lot more kick, mark and slower until the second half, and that was probably to protect their backs. But in the end, they weren't able to protect their backs, were they? They still leaked 50 inside 50s and had 20 marks again. So there's a lot of work to be done there, but he hasn't got too much to work with through the middle of the ground, Clarko.
Well, let's get down to Jess. She's got Sam Collins from the Suns with her.
Sam, a really, really important win for the team. Before we get on to the Took injury, I guess just tell us about how crucial that was to get another win on the board for the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a big week for us. We've been challenged externally, internally. We know what we've got is capable, but we haven't bought it for 4 quarters. So to show up tonight and play a real four-quarter game against North was it was really important for us.
Can you tell us what the latest is? Obviously, it's early days, but just even to see your co-captain in Took on crutches and in a knee brace, it mustn't be easy.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of the last people we want to see go down the race. But whatever the outcome of that is, he'll do his absolute best to make sure he's back and contributing to the team as soon as possible. So we'll wrap our arms around him, supporting him. He's the last person we want to see injured because he's such a good leader on field for us, but he'll be fine.
Just talk to us about the challenges, as you alluded to at the start of that. How much have you guys read into that? How much has Stewie spoken about heading into this game? Even the last few weeks, you've been under the pump.
Yeah, we've been under the pump. I think we've really backed in our process, and we really believe in what we're doing here. And don't get me wrong, it's super disappointing to not get the results early on in the season, but we've backed our process in. We've been training really well for the whole of pre-season, for the whole of till round 6 now. So we're backing our process, and we just need to fine-tune a few things. Every club does, and every club will hit its straps at the different times. But we fully believe in what we're doing here. We believe in what Dewey's bringing and what the other coaching staff are bringing to give us the best chance to compete.
I'll throw you to the guys upstairs.
No worries.
Sam, Quentin Hull here. Well done. So what worked today?
I think just our ability to control the ball. We didn't play fast or slow. We just played controlled, and we took what the opposition gave us. And that gave us a good opportunity to get some ground position and defend off the back of that. But I think hopefully you guys saw up there that there are a few different looks that we were giving our forwards, and the way we were using the ball, it wasn't just one way. So it was super impressive to just adjust to the learnings from last week.
Hello, Jason Ackermanis. Did you park the Harley out front before you come in today, big fellow, or just drive the car in today?
Nah, I just drove the car in today, Akka. The Harley's at the cleaners.
Now, we love you. Are very good today again. Your ability to read the ball, except for I don't know what was going on late in the game there. You got a little bit of upset with something that happened. But I want to ask you a serious question because you've got some players out there. Benny Humphries, comes out of nowhere, big size kid, looks all right. You've got Fiorini, you've got guys who can go in there and play. We don't see enough of them. Obviously, Humphries is starting, but Fiorini's been in and out and all around the shop. You've got some really good signs in there. It's terrible what happened to Took, but this is the whole thing. This is where the Suns are going to make the difference. Those guys who can go in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with your point there. We've got great depth and we've got great flexibility with the guys who can work through there. And I think the beauty is that, someone's going to get a real big opportunity to go in there and see what they're absolutely made out of. And we back our teammates in. We've got great depth there. And I'm really excited to see what guys are going to bring. And it's going to give us a different look and a different mix, which is exciting for us.
Hey Sam, I thought the inclusion the last couple of weeks for Powley when he's come back into the team, he's given you a bit of maturity, even though he's still only a young fella himself, but a bit of experience and maturity. I thought he's starting to get back to some really good form that he was showing us early last year with his ability to intercept mark and run off half-back. Yeah,
he's a really great player for us. He's a really important cog, and I think he's just someone that you can rely on to get his job done, and then his ability to impact the play, it's really important for us. Limits the amount of one-on-ones we've got, and he's always going to give his all in the contest. So I think he's an absolute competitor, and he's obviously a really talented player. So super happy to have him back after a pretty terrible injury.
And tell us about Mac Andrews. Tonight, obviously you know him better than all of us up here, but his ability to play on a super amount of variety of players. He was tall, smalls, quicks, crummers, lead-ups. His ability and what he has, speed and length and all those sorts of things, he's going to be a pretty dangerous and handy player to have down back for a long time with the Suns. Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be a great player for us again. He's obviously got the skills and the attributes and the flexibility to pretty much play anywhere. And I think he's just getting used to the level, and we're going to see the best of him come out in the near future. So just really excited to work with him and hone his crafts and make him the best competitor that we can. And as you said, you've just listed all of his attributes. He's a really unique player, and I'm sure that as he gets a lot more confidence in himself and his ability, he's going to be a real challenge for other teams.
And Sam, we leave today and we think, North have been one of the strugglers the last couple of years, so we're trying to work out, what have we learned? Is just a footy team, the Suns that are just too good for a developing footy team today, or is this a sign of we're going to see a bit more from this group? I'd love for you to take us in and give us the buy-in as to why there is the self-belief that this is going to be a team that will grow, despite the fact that you've had a couple of poor results at the start of this season, because you've got some players back. You're going to lose, obviously, your co-captain. But what's driven with that self-belief?
I just think our ability to play our best football and get the best out of ourselves and challenge each other is really important for us. I've just got to jump into the meeting, guys. Sorry about that.
Okay. Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
appreciate it.
You know though, Q. See, they're playing Richmond next week. Richmond always give you a chance. They give you a chance to get back in the game. They play such beautiful, aggressive footy. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to write the Suns off. I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Richmond next week. They can do it. Today, they should win. No one's going to get up for that game except for probably a guy who's having his 300 game. That's a ho-hum, let's get it done kind of game. That's what that was. Don't look into it. Don't look in the past or the future. They'll be right for next week because it's a big game. That was nothing, really.
They beat Richmond last year at Marvel Stadium.
Yep.
Well, here.
Their best win.
And here.
And here with the last kick.
Noah Anderson.
That was a wonderful game. So
that was Ark.
So Matt, you've
went left to right.
You've been in that coaching scenario, and Acker, as ever, no mucking around. It's the ho-hum week. You go and you get your 4 points and you move on. So, how do you then go and process that with a group that obviously knows the pressure is still on them, and they've gone and worked hard today for ostensibly, no real gain of respect. All they've done is keep pressure at bay.
Yeah, that's all it's done, to keep pressure at bay, because if they don't come out and play a really competitive, not even competitive, it's got to be better than competitive, the Suns. If they don't come out and win...
And we've been here since 2011, we're sick of competitive.
Yeah, exactly right.
And we haven't seen enough of that, let alone enough of the wins.
Consistently, exactly right.
Yep.
If they don't come out and beat Richmond, that they're showing they haven't improved from last year, because Richmond are coming back a bit.
Yes.
They're not the team that they have been. Not to say they're not going to make the 8, but if they don't beat Richmond, all of a sudden the heat's going to be back on, because the expectations of everybody, and it is of the Suns too, they should make the 8 this year, or be competing very, very hard right to the end of that. And so if they don't knock off the Tigers, they're back to where they were heading into the North game.
They match up really well, Q, against Richmond.
Yeah, and we go back to that same question that has been asked since 2011. You know, you guys have been in footy seasons. You know that a bounce of the ball, an injury, the win or loss sometimes can be a turn of fate.
Yep.
But the one thing that is expected of this footy club after all this time, they've got to be relevant deep to the chase for the 8.
Yep.
If they aren't a part of the story of forming the 8, it's going to be, same old, turn the page on another ho-hum season.
Exactly right. If they're not round 20, round 21, and it's they're still alive, they win their last 2, they're going to make the 8. If they're not in that conversation, big questions.
Matty Primus, question towards the Ruckman's Union as well. All the talk tonight was about Goldie, right? The last couple of weeks, and especially in the last dying minutes against Freo, it was young Ned Moyle who got taken care of, unfortunately. Is Jared Witts, not Touk Miller, their most important footballer?
Well, he just structures them up really well.
As in the structure.
But
he straightened them up tonight. He gave them first serve.
He kicked a goal. He's good around the contest. I mean, he's up against a veteran, but this is important for him. This is what I'm saying. But the thing that Q is probably forgetting is that, see, the Suns are going to be better when it gets harder, which is in the middle of the year. And when you travel, as these guys do, as Brisbane does, as Port did, as the West Coast teams do, that, July, August, that is the grind. That's when travelling makes a difference. And if the whips are still cracking and they're still there, and they should be still there, that'll be the improvement. Whether they make the 8 or not, they are still going to be, if they're there, which they will be, and I predict that they will be, they're going to win on the road, they're going to do all that, they're going to be hard to beat here all year. It's going to be at that time. That's where you'll see the improvement.
Jason Ackermanis and Matt Primus here on Grandstand AFL as we wrap things up from Carrara with kick-to-kick still taking place.
I saw a bloke in a dress out there. That was hilarious. He kicked the ball about 70 metres. Did you see that go?
Well,
I think he's gone down.
You sure you weren't seeing highlights of the Live Golf
this
weekend? That was pretty crazy.
It's like Happy Gilmore come to life, isn't it?
It really is.
Final score here, Gold Coast 14-13, 97 to North Melbourne 7-12, 54. Ben King with 5 goals for the Sun. Earlier today, it was Adelaide 11, 13.79 over Hawthorn, 11.10.76. And the Saints too good for the Blues, 12.10.82 to Carlton's 8.12.60.
Gee whiz, couldn't Carlton use Levi Casbolt at the moment?
No.
A big
They need pace. That's what they need, pace around the ball.
Numbers here. For the Suns, Lockie Weller continues to stun us all, really, with the way that he's playing his football off the back of a knee, off the back of an ACL which was ruptured in round 11 of last year. So it's nowhere near the whole year out, and he's come back and has been terrific since returning. 28 disposals for Weller today, 28 for Noah Anderson, 24 for Darcy McPherson, 24 for Ben Ainsworth, 21 for Ellis, 21 for Fiorini. Individuals for North Melbourne. Gee, you reckon Ben Cunnington's done enough over his career for the Kangas? Look at the two guys at the top, Cunnington and Zeeble leading the way today. And the next guy is Hall. That's half the problem, isn't it?
Outstanding.
Cunnington 27, Zeeble 23, Hall 22. And then Davies Uniacke 20, Taylor 17, Tucker 17, Logue 17.
That's the smarts right there. That's experience. They just know where to go to get the ball.
But surely they've done enough for this footy club, haven't they?
They have, and they're going to find players to get those numbers.
Past them, yeah. Well, 3 weeks ago, I think Clygo subbed out Cunnington, didn't he, when he during the game there?
Yes, he did.
He's looking for people to step up, but tonight there wasn't enough.
Because Cunnington's clearance numbers over the last couple of weeks have been down.
Yeah. 16 contested possessions for him today, Pricey.
With the 8 clearances as well.
And 8 clearances.
Yeah, doesn't get subbed off anymore.
Overall, Gold Coast had 64 more possessions